Hello and welcome to Throwdown episode 37. I am your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez. The Throwdown logo.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hungover Brian Manjoma.
The sooner we start, the sooner we finish.
See, with Brian, it's not a question of when did you start drinking, it's a question of when did you stop drinking.
And are you still drinking?
Yes.
No. I started working like 5 hours ish.
Yeah.
Jesus.
All right. You have a little bit of the hair of the dog that bit you. You feel better.
Fuck that.
It's actually true.
Absolutely, man. That's a lot.
We got Chris Seeley, who doesn't have an overlay in the house.
Oh shit.
Who is that guy?
Who are you?
What are you doing in Chris's box?
Some random instant guy who showed up on the show. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, what's up, everyone?
He should have said. When I said who are you, should have said the new number 2.
Yes, who's number 1?
I just said I'm Batman.
Yeah. Brett Murdoch.
What's up, everybody?
And special guest for the month, Corey Dillon.
What's up?
There you go. You get one of those.
There it is.
All right. We'll talk to you, Corey, in a bit. Chris, man, I saw you beefing today, man, on Twitter. What happened? Tell the people what's going on.
I had the nightmare realization. I thought that Konami reached out, from their angry pit in Japan and took PT away from me. I tried to run it last night just for shits and giggles. I was up and I was like, you know what? I want to play PT a little bit. So I go to fire it up. And I get this weird error message that says I can't verify license. It won't launch the game. And it has a little lock symbol. I've never seen that before on the PlayStation. On the game, there's a little lock on it. And I went, those sons of bitches. And I restarted my PlayStation, tried to run it again. It wouldn't run. So I tweeted out my anger. I was like, fuck you, Konami. I cannot play my game. And I realized that, I don't know, there was something weird with the game. And I had to get to log into my girlfriend's account because we share the PlayStation. And then she was able to launch it, and then afterwards I was able to launch it. But for some reason, the PlayStation forgot that I even played the game and locked it to her account for some reason. So that's why it didn't work. But initially, I had thought the worst, that Konami did something and that the game just wasn't just gonna run anymore. And I was like,
Okay, but Konami anyway.
Yeah, I didn't really apologize to them. I apologized to everybody else for the scare, but I'm not apologizing to Konami. Fuck those guys, because we really shouldn't have. I shouldn't have had to worry about that. I should be able to download that demo whenever I want, and we should be getting Silent Hills. But because they suck, we're not getting either of those things. So.
Yeah,
Pachinko, man, that's the future for Konami.
Basically. Anyway, Corey, since you're here, you're the fan of the month. Let's talk about you a little bit. How did you find out about us?
Well, I've been following you since Shut the Fuck Up and Play.
Yeah, when was that exactly? Because I think it was around E3, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about around I forgot which one it was. It was around E3 though. I don't know. I just got fed up with stuff from IGN. You guys seemed like you had a lot of fun and just didn't give no fucks about what you said. So I was like, all right.
The realest podcast, man. That's what we do around here. And you're pretty engaged with the whole community thing. I noticed you're always telling me about all these community battles that are happening that I don't even know about. You're always like, Tony, what's going on with this? I'm like,
yeah,
what's happening now?
Sometimes I don't always want to stop, but that's just me. So.
You were telling me about Batman today, and then some other shit last week.
Well,
I'm like,
Batman in particular. It's just I want that game bad, and it's people are wait for the game of the year. It's well, fuck that. But it's just every other week. It's just Warner Brothers just gotta shove it in just a little bit deeper.
Oh, you mean the million
fucking million
and stuff?
When you need a spreadsheet to keep track of all the different pre-order bonuses, someone fucked up somewhere.
Yeah, but I tell you on Twitter, stay away from that shit, man. Stay away from Digital Foundry, stay away from those bullshit sites that just fanning the flames. Stay away from that. Stay away from N4G. Stay away from all that bullshit. Fuck those places. Anyway, let's talk about some good stuff. Gaming. How did you get started?
Probably the Super Nintendo. Donkey Kong.
Ooh.
Yeah. Not the OG or arcade, but the one that was like the first.
Yeah, the
console
Super Nintendo one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah,
good
Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, it was a good one. I like
Mhm.
that was actually one of my favorite games at the time. Hard as shit though, at least for someone as young as I was.
How old were you?
I was probably around 5.
Hmm.
But
I'm gonna guess that 91 denotes the year you were born, huh?
Yeah, well, let's see, 90. I don't know. I don't remember. I was born 91, so about that. Yeah, about right, I guess.
Yeah, man, I played when I was 1 year old.
I just kind of stuck with it over the years. Mega Man was probably my favorite growing up.
Nice. Oh, you went back to NES too?
Probably Mega Man X, right?
Oh yeah, Mega Man.
Mega Man X was actually how I got into Mega Man, and then I went back and played all the old ones, and I think I played the shit out of X6 because it was like the only one I could rent from when Blockbuster was a thing. Yeah, I kept renting it, and then finally it's just my mom's like, why the fuck did you just buy the goddamn game? And I was like, that's a good idea. Do you know where I can buy it? And just like, oh yeah, exactly.
Or maybe she should buy it because you didn't have money, so she had to buy it for you, man.
Well, no, and the other thing is by that time, this was like early 2000s, PlayStation games were kind of hard to find at that point, the original. Then I moved to here in Tosa, and the one at Mayfair, the GameStop over here actually had it, so I actually bought all the original games until they finally bundled them all together for PS2.
I think I missed that collection.
They had the original and they had the X collection.
Yes, they did.
The thing about X collections, it kind of falls flat near the basically X4 through 6. It kind of starts to fall flat. They're still good, but not as good as the originals.
Yeah, and what else? Okay, now that we're in the modern era, what's some of your favorite stuff about it? Some of your favorite games, all that.
Well, I like I like Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely big fans of that. Trying to think what else. Definitely played the shit out of Batman as soon as I fucking could get my hands on it. I still couldn't believe Asylum was a thing when I fucking first bought it.
You mean like the first good superhero game ever, basically?
Oh, first good Batman game.
Or Batman game, yeah. I know, hey, Batman for the Super Nintendo was good too.
Yeah, Batman Returns was awesome.
But then, definitely big Kingdom Hearts fan.
Yeah, you're always telling me about that shit.
I don't know, it's weird. It should not have worked, but it did. That combination of two of the most... I don't know what Square was thinking when they made it, but it worked, so good for them.
I like how you're like eating and drinking right on camera. No podcast etiquette.
But
no fucks given. I like that.
yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, there's all kinds of shit that I like. I mean, I have like 3 little baskets full of games from PS3 to 360 at this point. And I have all my PS2 games, which probably close to 100 by now.
Oh, wow.
Well, you can't trade them in because it's like, yeah, you want a nickel for like 16 games?
Well, now GameStop's getting back into old used games.
Yeah, because remember they stopped that like for a while.
Yeah, but the nostalgia has risen. So maybe one of those old PlayStation games might be worth something.
Yeah, guess what? We bumped it up. Here's $5 for 30,000 games.
Hey, it's still money though.
You
All
know
right.
the thing.
Yeah.
It makes you.
No,
it kinda makes-
GameStop is terrible. I fucking dropped by there this weekend when I was looking at stuff. Like, man, their prices for used games are $10 higher than like Walmart and Target for the new games.
Yeah, I agree with that. The one by me, I live, like I said, in Tosa, the one at Mayfair Mall. I've known those guys for 10 years. They have other jobs. I think I'll have them do this like part-time. Those guys have been so cool. Like, especially, I wanted to get Kingdom Hearts 2.5 collection, but I didn't pre-order it because I thought I did, and they ran out because it's not like it's Kingdom Hearts 3. They only bought a limited amount because they're older games. Well, what they did is like, wait, do we have the collector's edition? And they're not supposed to, kind of what they ended up doing is they basically treated the collector's edition as the regular edition. It's like, well, just give them one of those, or they weren't supposed to do that. But they're just like, fuck it, what's the difference? They're just gonna all there is a fucking keychain in it. So they weren't like, for some reason they weren't supposed to do that, but you know,
yeah, you got something out of it.
Yeah, it was cool, you know, because I was pissed, you know, because that was like the one game I was kind of looking forward to for a while.
What are you eating anyway?
Oh, they're like balls of, like, they're Tyson chicken. They're
Tyson
like
chicken
balls of
balls.
chicken. Yeah, they're good as shit. They look like they wouldn't be good, but
Tyson chicken ball. Okay, I've never heard of that. It must be a Western
Tyson
thing.
Chicken? No.
Tyson chicken balls.
Oh, chicken balls? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what buffalo chicken something.
Awesome. All right, man. So welcome to the show, and you're a member of the cast for tonight. So enjoy yourself.
Mm-hmm.
All right, before we go on to the main topic, we got to talk about The Witcher because Brett has it, Brian has it, and Corey has it. So let's talk about it. And Brett, I'll let you kick things off because you wanted to do, like we were talking about this before, and like, Tony, record this.
Yeah. Like we actually started to get in like a heated debate before this, and it all started.
Heated debate.
It was starting to get there. But it started with this little red slip, and for those of you who don't have the game, I'll go ahead and read it again.
Yes.
It says, "Dear Gamer, first of all, we would like to thank you for your support. We really appreciate that you have decided to spend your hard-earned money on our game, and hope that you have a fun time playing it. Over 200 of us have spent the last 3 years working on The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and it is with great pleasure and humility that we present our game to you. At CD Projekt Red, we believe that when you buy our games, you're entitled to continuous free support, updates, patches, and bits of new and amazing content. We owe you that for believing in us and purchasing our game. To thank you, we prepared something really special. 16 DLCs for you to download, totally free of charge, regardless of the platform or edition of the game you own. We salute you for your support and wish you a fantastic next-gen RPG experience. CD Projekt Red."
Don't forget I gave you this too. I'm always a fan of soundtracks. So.
Yeah, they give you soundtracks, they give you stickers, they give you a map. I mean,
this is just the normal edition of the game. This is not the special edition, right?
Yeah, this is not a collector's edition.
Take away the thank you letter for a minute and just look at the stuff. Like, you don't get shit in boxes no more.
No, I just bought Diablo. It came with one slip of paper like this, which was an ad for another Blizzard product. Like, they didn't want to spend the money. Not even like instruction manuals have gone wayside, and I bitch about this all the time. Like, I miss the instruction manuals with the art and stuff in them. Like, they give you an instruction manual, a lore manual, a full color map, some fucking stickers, a soundtrack. Like, the case practically bursts open as soon as you take the cellophane off, and goodies just rain forth from it. It's actually it's really awesome, and CD Projekt Red deserves a huge, big thumbs up for the way that they're treating their customers here. I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of Witcher 2. I bought both Witcher 1 and 2. Wasn't necessarily a huge fan of this. I was gonna sit this one out, but my want of something to play, the fact that this looks really polished. They seem to have listened to their fans and polished the game where it needs polished, and goddamn if I don't support them as a company. So, this is me putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm glad I did, because so far the game is fucking awesome. But everybody should treat their customers this well. Everybody.
Yeah. Now here's where we were kind of debating, because I'm reading this and I'm like, the cynic in me, I couldn't help it. I'm like, they're kind of taking advantage of the fact that every other company treats their customers like shit. So it's like, hey, let's get in their good graces by, giving them these little things that every other company should be giving people. So that's great and all, but it's kind of sad that they have to do that.
No, I don't think they. I don't
have to. Because like CD Projekt Red are a genuine nice company. It's like they're not out there to screw people over. They're generally out there for the love of gaming, unlike some other companies out there.
And
I'm not saying they're not, but I'm just saying, man. Like,
I like the way you're just like, I'm not saying it, but I'm saying it.
Yeah,
fucking saying it.
I'm not saying the sky is blue, but the sky is blue.
They also kind of like start developing or they got into before they were this big company they are now, like kind of when that whole thing with the. Because I thought they said something with the Berlin Wall, it's like Europe, because they are in Europe, part of Europe.
Yeah, they're Polish, aren't they?
Poland, yeah, Polish.
Yeah, and then their games weren't necessarily like they were in the rest of the world. They were pretty it took a long time for them to get where everyone else was. So like,
yeah,
for them it was special because they didn't have all the other shit that we had at that point.
Yeah, this is the first game where they've actually broken into and they've broken into the mainstream, and they've even had interviews where they've sold like a shitload of copies, and they've talked to them, and they basically said, we think we've finally broken into the mainstream, by treating our customers right and trying to make the best games we can, and
bear in mind
what they had to say.
Witcher 2,
the Polish Prime Minister,
Witcher 2 was good, but it did not break anywhere near the ground that Witcher 3 has so far.
No, but remember, wasn't The Witcher 2 given to President Obama by the Polish Prime Minister or something like that?
Yeah, I thought that was fake. I was like,
here's the thing you have to understand. The Witcher is based off a series of novels, which are, like, Poland is super proud of the Witcher series of novels. It is.
Like
they're also not called The Witcher in the novels. It's got a different name.
Yeah, I forget.
Sounds along the lines
Witcher's
of The Witcher.
English name, like that's what it roughly translated to, or something. That's what
it actually had an alternate, like an English name, but it wasn't Witcher. It just sounded. They just chose Witcher because it sounded cooler.
Yeah, that worked.
I mean, it's the game is not. It's based on the books, but it is not necessarily. I'm not sure if it's actually written by the guy who writes the books. It's just based on those books that are so beloved. Like, it is considered one of their artistic exports of note. So
a lot of the lore comes from the books, from what I've heard, and people have read them. The characters, and a lot of them. Some characters have changed their roles, have changed a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's not. They take a lot of the stuff from the books. But it's like it's very much their own kind of take.
It's 5 years later. It's not like here when we took Lord of the Rings and made a Lord of the Rings movie that was based on the movie, and it was actually some of the books. What they did is they have the books that contain their own separate storyline, and then 5 years after the books, they a separate company, CD Projekt Red, picked up the storyline and did a continuation of it. So it's kind of the same way, like you may see a Star Wars movie and then read a paperback novel written by somebody that continues after the Star Wars movie.
Yeah, it's not like a one-for-one representation, apparently, but
it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be 5 years later. So
I mean, they did say if you read the books, there's a lot of stuff in there for people to dig into. There's a lot of stuff that gets referenced, and if you didn't, still have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I think it's neat that a company has that much soul that they're willing to give their customers that much content, just for the purchase price. They weren't coming out like, oh, we got day one DLC and all this bullshit that we had.
Contrasted to what Warner Brothers is doing.
Oh yeah, to have a $40 season pass and get ready for that DLC. Open your wallets, fuckers, because here comes Batman and he's diving right in there.
No, one thing I really like that I do want to point out that I read in an interview with them is them saying, this game was the first one to break mainstream, and so they're slated to make a lot of money. And they said, well, what are you going to do? And they said, well, we're going to support this game for the next 2 years and continue doing, free editions and add-ons and things like that, probably beyond what we promised people. And then we're going to take all of that revenue and roll it into our next game, which is Cyberpunk 2077. Which is awesome because I hear we're not going to take this money and run to the bank and buy a fucking yacht. We're going to use it to make a bigger, better game next time.
Is it? I've seen comparisons online too where people are like, wow, this has more content than Destiny does. And I'm like, wow, imagine that.
And it didn't cost nearly as much money to produce.
Twice the story and about a tenth.
It also didn't cost an entire country's GDP to make.
Yeah.
But yet, some people say that games are costing more to make. Well, I guess The Witcher just says, fuck you guys.
It's also made in
that's a lie.
It's also, by the way, made in Poland.
Yeah, that's also true. Keep that in mind. They didn't, they didn't have that much money.
What does it matter where it was made? It's
yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, you're probably
it just shows good business.
You guys realize that Poland is more financially well off than the United States, right? They have subsidized healthcare, higher education, higher living of standard. Like, they're not a third world country. We are actually the third world country compared to Poland right now.
Well, I don't know about that. Yeah.
Dude, don't be nationalistic. I'm sorry, it's a fact. They have a higher standard of living.
Okay, man. Anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna get into that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Oh, post-Throwdown is gonna be fun.
Yeah, sure, but the point is, like, the fact that they could do this shit that it should be standard, and everybody's like, oh my god, yes, thank you, City Pride, right? Shows the bad state that we're in with the gaming industry, because every company's out to, fuck you over, and they're just like being like the way companies used to be back in the day. You used to get shit like that all the time.
Let me get this straight. You're saying that it's good that they're doing this, but they're doing it for self-gain and everything like that. So you're saying somehow a game company is being manipulative by giving good customer service and caring about the feedback and word of mouth of their consumer. So basically, they're manipulating us with good business.
I'm saying that the business industry is so bad now that a company could just be good to customers, and it'll be like, oh my god, here's my panties, you know?
No, but
like
that
everybody
was
just
that's the PlayStation 4.
Tony, that's our culture. That's American business making everything look bad. That when someone is actually genuine and nice, that we're like shocked.
That's what I'm saying. That's the state we're in now. That's what I'm trying to get at. Chris finally, got it to the heart of it. That's why I'm not really saying shit about City Pride Red. I'm saying about the industry. That one company's like, hey guys, we're not going to treat you like crap. We're not going to fuck you in the ass. And everybody's praising them because every other company's doing that exact same thing. These guys are like, here's 16 DLCs. And Batman's like, hey, give us $100 and we get all this. You know, here's pieces of a game.
Warner
That's what I'm
Brothers
trying to get at.
Take it in the ass before you get your game.
Yeah. Oh, not just America too. Ubisoft is super guilty of that.
They're not even Americans.
So then, what you're saying, Tony, is that that's why gaming sucks.
Little nod.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
I hit a couple of nails on the head in that one. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, have you ever had a conversation with someone and you say something like, I get that in your mind it's just normal, like, hey, you have really nice whatever, and they'll go, oh my god, that is the nicest thing you ever said to me. I'm like, how is that the nicest thing you ever heard? That, like, how badly have you been treated all your life? That's what I'm trying to get at here. It's like, wait, you get a little piece of paper with a thank you and you're going crazy. I'm like, damn, how bad are things out there that little thing is making everybody so happy?
Hey man, don't make it abused. Like it's never been standard for games to just fucking give you stickers. That was always a bonus. That's always been a bonus. It's never been required. And I can tell you, like, it's as a small businessman, like, that's how you should be treating people. It's and the fact that you do get treated that way, like, that's the best you can expect. Like, if I'm nice to you, I'm courteous to you, I give you not only a good value but a discount beyond that value, and then give you more than you asked for, and you're like, well, you know, this is how everybody should be treating me. Fuck you! No, it's not. I've gone above and beyond. And if you don't recognize that, fuck you. You don't deserve my extra shit.
Yeah, I see it differently. I see it as like, hey, they're all treating everybody like assholes. Let's not treat them like assholes.
So you're entitled.
Your version of the Wisher will not have that paper or any of it.
Yes.
Just for some reason, it won't.
It's probably won't because I'll download it or something.
So Tony, would you say that you're an entitled gamer then?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, look at the industry. How is it entitled?
Because you're entitled to freebies, stickers, a soundtrack, a full-color map, and a manual with every video game that you get because you deserve that for buying the video game. Yeah, you did, because you said all of those things weren't extra. They were all things that we should be getting anyway.
Yeah, but you're not entitled to it.
Okay, well, that's if you should be getting it, it means you're entitled to it. They're synonyms.
But they used to come, like, you used to get, stickers and art book, not art books, like whatever, a manual with all that shit in it. You used to get maps. Used to come with all that stuff. GTA still does that, by the way.
GTA did it, and it was awesome when GTA gave me a full color map. The Witcher gave me a full color map, a soundtrack, and stickers.
You're missing my point, though. It shows you how bad the industry is that. And somebody does this.
It's not bad. You used to get an instruction manual. Since when did you get a free soundtrack? And since when did you get free stickers? Like, even by old time standards, they're going up.
Yeah, no, that really happened. I'll give you that. But my point still stands. This is how fucked up the industry is.
They're manipulating us with good business practices.
When you keep bringing it back to CD Red, I'm trying to talk about the rest of the business. You're focusing on them specifically. I don't know why,
that's what brought up this conversation, though.
Yeah, but it's like them doing that shows you how bad the rest of the industry is.
I don't think the rest of the industry owes me that.
No, it's not. It's not that they owe you that. It's just that they keep slicing the games apart. Giving pardon me for DLC and stuff, and they're like, hey, here's free DLC, guys.
It's weird where we draw these lines. Like, you're not pissed about the fact that the order was only 5 hours long, but you're pissed that every video game doesn't give you stickers.
No, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit.
What's that?
I said I don't give a fuck about stickers. I don't care.
No, he said, yeah. That's what he said.
Yeah, I said I don't give a fuck about stickers. I don't care about stickers. So why would I be mad about the order being short? They said it's a linear game and it's cinematic. I expected a short game, and I played it for 9 fucking hours. It wasn't 5. If we're gonna go back to that again.
What is it? What would it take for somebody for a game company or a development team to get a thank you out of Tony?
I don't know. We'll have to see. It has to come naturally.
Send him that prize.
Let's just say, thank you for releasing Metal Gear. He'll get a thank you from me.
Send him that Sony Microsoft money.
Yeah, like what would be above and beyond for you, Tony? I'm just curious now.
I don't think about those terms. It's like, just give me a game that works and that's it, you know?
So did you guys read the article? Like, you're kind of interpreting. There was an article that they kind of, this whole downgrade shit. Well, like,
I don't want to get into it.
They responded to it, and I'm not going to talk about a whole long. There's one line that they said in it when they responded. That basically, The Witcher 3 in its current form would have never happened without the 2 consoles, because apparently it gave them a bigger budget, and in order to do the same game for just PC, they could have pushed visuals, but I guess their scope wouldn't have been the same. And I guess people still don't accept that as the answer.
Oh, people are mad that the game was visually downgraded from the previous version. Look, the last game was
just that one line in there that it's like,
dude,
that's the whole argument right there. That's all you need to read is that one line.
The Witcher 2 on ultra settings at the time that it was out was a fucking card-crushing game. Most people couldn't play it on high settings, and only the elitist of the elite could. Like, I'm sorry, but there comes a point where you can't make the same mistake as Crysis and have a video game that only runs on 12 people's machine and be like, why didn't we sell 1 million fucking copies? Because nobody can run your fucking game, man.
It's only Jay gone on a few of the people on the earth.
That Arab money.
With the oil money.
Oh man! But anyway, let's talk about the actual game, Greg, because our fans, they were asking us about The Witcher. So, what do you think so far?
If I had to sum it up in one line, I would say this is medieval, the show Supernatural in a video game. It's actually really cool. You kind of get used to being like, oh, there's a ghost, I'm gonna go fucking hunt a ghost. But this game's a little bit slower and more deliberate in its approach. You actually have to investigate. You have to read the lore. You have to understand. You have to prepare for the fight.
You don't just hunt monsters. You gotta look at. You gotta prepare.
Yeah, you don't just kill monsters. You have to hunt them, and even little things like you have something called the Witcher vision, which is a lot like Eagle vision, except it's not nearly as dynamic. It doesn't distort the world so much, and you only pick up things like within a 5 to 6 foot radius. So if you're following tracks, it's actually like if you followed somebody actually in the wilderness, you'd see them kind of like scoping along the ground and like looking at this stick, and then scoping over here, and then kind of going over here and being like, it kind of lose the trail. Look around for a minute, pick it back up over here. The way that the game unfolds makes you actually kind of act that way as opposed to just running from checkpoint to checkpoint. I would almost equate it with L.A. Noire. Like there's a fair bit of investigation, and no, I would not equate it to the Batman games where you just put on your Eagle vision and look for something shiny. It's not like that. It's like I said, it's more deliberate, and it makes you actually think, which puts some substance to the world.
So it's not push the story forward vision.
Yeah, it's not. It's
or convenient vision.
Exactly. It's kind of like focusing. If you still have to, it'll still point you in the right direction, but you'll still have to look around. And the way it kind of unfolds, it kind of gives you a lot of context in the about what's going on. It doesn't hurt the fact that he constantly talks to himself like, footprints, something in this.
What's unsettling about the Witcher vision now is how good his hearing is. Well, because he is a Witcher. But
you focus you hear sticks like twigs snapping in the background.
Yeah, that fucking freaks me out.
Yeah, it's nice little immersive touches.
So he turns into Daredevil.
Kind of, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Except he can see, and so he has that fucking gift.
I feel like the combat is a little clunky, but I just came off Bloodborne, so that's a complaint that I've heard over and over again, and I imagine I'll get used to.
Yes, they say, don't play Bloodborne. Don't play Witcher immediately after you played Bloodborne.
That's what I heard too.
Like, yeah, man.
Over and over again.
You're gonna go from handling like a badass to handling like an old guy who happens to be superhuman.
Yeah, you just. He has very little finesse. For all of his training, he has very little finesse. Just kind of lops the sword around, and you kind of get used to it. It's definitely better than Dragon Age. You know,
yeah,
Dragon
no ballet. You just like, all right, I'm gonna cut you in half.
Yeah, it's visceral. It's fun. The ladies in it are gorgeous, and their booties are perfectly shaped. I have to say it. You all know, anybody who's played the game has thought that. My wife thought that. She said that. So anybody who's played it...
Did she go, oh my god, there's boobs in this game?
No, she was just like, booty? Like, somebody spent a lot of time drawing the models in this game, and it shows. Like, I don't mean that in like a lecherous way. Like, the models, both clothed and naked, are gorgeous. The environment is lived in and feels realistic.
The women in that game actually look a little bit better than Garrett does.
yeah, Garrett. You can tell where they focused a lot of their artistic budget. They're like,
no, man, he's seen some shit.
Yeah, but still, he's rendered to a certain degree, and then like the naked girl ass is rendered like twice as well.
Half the budget went to the booty.
Her butt probably has more polygons than Garrett's face.
Yes.
I don't know, man.
They used the tessellation on her butt.
It's tessellation.
They used tessellation on her butt.
Oh, God.
That dynamic beard growth, man.
Yeah.
Dynamic beard growth, so in other words, so it grows in and then you can chop it off again?
Pretty much, yeah.
Immersion.
You actually have to get your hair cut at some point.
Wait, can you like play the entire game and just be like big beard by the end?
No, you can't get a Gandalf beard.
See, I would buy this game right now just for that. It's like, dude, I want to go with the biggest beard.
How long does it take for his beard to grow?
Yeah, it's like, can I just do it out in the wilderness and set my clock?
It takes a little bit, but I mean, it's kind of hard when you're exploring to.
Is it two game
days?
You're
gonna get a full-grown beard. It's just it's easy to get lost in that game. So it's like, you can shave all you want, but you're just going to have to accept the beard, man.
Here's something that I might give some people some insight. The game world seems to be well-crafted enough, and I'm not just saying this from personal experience, but both personal experience and from what I've heard, that when given the option to fast travel between point A and point B, most people are actually foregoing the fast travel because it's so nice and immersive to actually move through the world, and dynamic events happen with such regularity that you could miss, bandits burning down a house, or a crashed carriage being attacked by werewolves, or a troop of vampires on the road at night. Like, you could miss so much stuff if you just jump from point A to point B to follow the story, and people actually will run through the long way when given the option. And to me, at least, that speaks volumes as to the game world. And we've all played game worlds that feel like a Disney set. This is kind of the opposite. You kind of want to live there. Like Red Dead is another good example.
I think I was just about to say that. Red Dead, I never took a shortcut. I always went the long way around.
It almost seems like they purposely made fast travel kind of clunky, because that's how it feels to me. And it's weird. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's almost like they purposely did it so you would go explore the world, rather than just be like Skyrim, like, oh, I'm just gonna fucking travel way across the world.
Yeah, well, Skyrim, if I've walked that path once, I'm never going back. Like, I'm just gonna fast travel to the closest area and then just continue trekking from there.
Oh, that's what I did in Fallout. That's what I did in Fallout. I'm like, nope, just fast travel. I don't need to go through this wasteland.
Yeah, but The Witcher it's compelling for some reason. You want to move through an area, and there is a lot of fucking area to move through, and it is all gorgeous. It looks like real landscape. It doesn't look like video game world. It looks like
it's very hard to not stop and look at things. I'm gonna say that right now. I've done it a lot.
Yeah, and it's even the way that the landscape moves. It's not like, oh, here's a fall area. Here's kind of a snowy area. Like you'll move from like highlands down into lower areas, and the trees will slowly give way, and you'll find yourself like going through bogs, or like I walked through a muddy, dried up riverbed where you could tell by the road that there used to be a river there, but it had dried up into this kind of sloggy bog area. So there was like road, and then like you kind of sunk down and slogged through it a little bit, and then road again, and you sunk down and slogged through it again, and then you ended up back on the other side. And it was just one of these cool things just to sit back and look at it and be like, huh, there used to be a river here, but now there's not. And it's not just like, oh, here's a dry riverbed. Like it's still saturated with water. There's still like a stream running there, but not a big stream. And I bet you that somewhere in that game world, you'll find out why there is not a river there anymore. Like, they've been talking about dumping corpses in the river. I bet you I'm going to find the river blocked up somewhere or something like that. And the game's very good at tying back on itself like that.
And the other thing is the sunsets are incredibly, like, they're almost disorientating, because there's like I was like running up a cliff and the sun's directly in your face. It's almost blinding, like you would expect. And
yeah, like when you're running into the sunset, you're like, I can't see.
I was like, what the fuck am I going right now?
Yo, man, that's that global illumination.
So, all in all, if I had to use, I would say it's a very mature game in every aspect. So if you count yourself as a mature gamer, it would be worth your time to check it out.
Mature, and it also knows when to laugh at itself. That's what I love the most.
Yeah, it's not Christopher Nolan. Thank God.
So Brett, I'm guessing you're not complaining about the score we gave the game. Literally, Nash gave it a 99 out of 100.
I don't know if I'd personally count it that good yet, because like I said,
there are a couple little things, but you know what, it's a good game. You know, what else do you guys want? You know,
it's okay. There's different kinds of good games too, and this is a good time to bring this up. There's good games like, Destiny is a pretty good game in the sense that it's got an awful lot of polish. Marvel puts out good comic books, but in my world, in my personal opinion, if you gave me an issue of any Marvel comic versus Jamie Hewitt's classic Tank Girl, I'm going to pick Jamie Hewitt's Tank Girl, not because it's technically superior, but because it's more fun, and it's got more of what counts all in the right places, I guess. And that's kind of the same category I'd put The Witcher in. It's fun. It is enjoyable. You can tell there's a lot of love in this game. Podcat.
Mm-hmm. Podcat. I see a Podcat.
There's a lot of love and a lot of respect in this game, both towards the medium and its consumers, and it really shows through in a way that most AAA games, even if they have higher polish, they come across as placating, and The Witcher feels full of substance. So it feels like one of those niche games that everybody talks about as being so good because it was kind of their thing, like Final Fantasy was back in the day, but it's unpolished in a couple areas. But it more than makes up for that. So, yeah, like if I were giving it on a scale all by itself, like not in relation to any other game, I would put it in the high 90s. Now, if I were, I can't give it a 99 because I think Bloodborne's a better game, and I can't give Bloodborne 100 because Bloodborne has its own issues. But by itself, yeah, I'd definitely give it an A.
It's in that top echelons.
It is, and for an indie studio to have a game this, it's more polished than fucking Skyrim is. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, yeah.
God. Fuck.
That's not really saying much, is it?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Bethesda, I don't even think they have a Q&A department.
Yeah, they're called Bugfesta for a reason.
It's the equivalent of like a featherweight going to the 8th round with Mike Tyson. Like, okay, you may not have beaten the heavyweight champion and been the ultimate badass in the world, but you went fucking 8 rounds with Mike Tyson and you weigh 90 pounds. Like, that's fucking impressive. For an indie studio to hit that well, that it's indistinguishable from AAA games, and even indistinguishable from AAA games, it excels amongst those. it's like hitting a home run out of your ballpark into somebody else's ballpark and still getting a triple.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people kind of like, I don't know if they just don't realize it, but it's like they're not a big AAA publisher. I mean, this is technically an indie game. I mean, it's the most polished indie game I've ever seen.
It's like probably like one of the most polished games out there right now, or the last couple of years, which is saying a lot. You know, it's a
we don't
it's
really
a sad
get that
state.
many.
Yeah. It's a sad
all a
state
sad
where you can say, yeah, this game just showed up like all these big titles. It's like Destiny, your Call of Duties, your Assassin's Creeds. Like, yeah, they're all great as shit, but this game just showed you all up. Like,
and I mean, we already got.
What are you guys doing? You know?
But let's be fair. Let's be fair though. Who's putting money into this? Warner Brothers. This is technically a AAA game.
I know how to put it.
No, it's not. It's an independent game.
Yeah. It's an independent game.
No, dude. Remember when CIE3 who was showing it?
Yes,
Warner Brothers.
because that's their publisher.
That's what I'm saying.
But they're not exactly putting money into it. They have a promotional budget, but all they are doing is promoting it. They had nothing to do with the actual game.
Yeah, I don't think
that's still putting money into it. So
it was
it isn't putting money into it.
You can't equate this to like an actual. You can't equate it to an actual full-on indie game when it has a freaking Warner Brothers behind it. You know.
Number one, it has in different territories. There are different studios that are publishing it. So
and there's like there was a I don't know what studio that I would have never thought. Yeah.
For example, like here in in Europe, it's published by Bandai Namco.
Yeah, that's
so what do they say? So what is it? What is it? Bandai Namco money? No, they licensed. They made the deal to publish the game. That's about it. And then there's a certain amount of promotional money
behind it, dude.
Tony, no.
But again, it's not a big studio behind it.
It isn't.
Warner Brothers is not. Warner Brothers is not big.
Tony, it is an independently published game. Do you understand that?
Game.
It is an independently developed game.
Brett, go.
It is an independently developed game. That is what it is, and indie stands for independently developed game. It may not share the fact that it has a publisher or several publishers. It doesn't share that in common with a lot of independently developed games, but that doesn't not make it independently developed.
I'm not saying it isn't independent. I'm just saying Warner Brothers is behind it too, so you can't.
They're not behind making it. They're only behind selling it, and that's because
they're promoting it and stuff. They're putting money behind that promotion.
Every indie game, like there's a lot of indie games that are being published by Sony and advertised by Sony. No Man's Sky is one of them. It's still an indie title.
Yeah.
But it still has that big Sony engine behind it. That's what I'm saying.
No, it doesn't.
It's not a Sony game. It's an indie game, though.
But if CD Projekt if they were the only publisher, then I could give you that.
Indie has nothing to do with who's publishing it. The word indie refers to who develops it. You're talking apples and oranges, man.
The word indie is kind of losing its whole meaning now. I mean.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's becoming muddled, but it is an indie game.
Like the guys that make Heavenly Sword, right?
Yeah.
They're an indie company. They're not part of Sony.
But think about it. They have big guys behind them who, like, the last Devil May Cry, Capcom was behind that.
Yes, but they were flipping the bill. But the thing is that it was only Capcom that was flipping the bill for that. For The Witcher, on the other hand, there are multiple companies in different territories that are publishing the game. So what are you saying? That every single one of these companies is somehow behind it? No, it has nothing to do with that. The game. Think of it this way: you made a movie, and then somebody decided, hey, this would be cool, and decided to put it out. That's exactly the situation.
If I put out my own movie and Sony Pictures decides to put it out there,
that doesn't make it. That doesn't make your film a Sony Pictures film.
That would have been better. That would give me more exposure than if I did it myself. That's
Tony. Do you understand?
So are you saying that the fact that Witcher is doing really good right now is just for the plain fact that Warner Brothers being behind it?
Witcher's been around for like 10 years or something. It's built word of mouth, but it doesn't help that you have Warner Brothers behind promoting it either.
Tony, do you know what? Tony, do you know what Image Comics is?
Yes, Comics is.
Do you know what Marvel Comics is?
Yes.
Do you know the difference between the two?
Yeah.
Okay, that is the difference between an indie game and a AAA game. A AAA or a non-indie game is when a publisher or a development studio talks with a publisher.
By the way, this is a little bit of a side conversation. Can you really call Image Comics independent at this point?
They're
pretty fucking big. Like compared to IDW or other ones.
Dude, they are officially.
Yeah, but
they don't make nearly as
like
much
IDW or guys like that.
They don't make nearly as much money as some place like as a place like a Marvel. Just because you heard of it doesn't make it still make it not an indie company.
I heard of IDW too. They ain't as big as Image Comics.
IDW isn't for the most part an indie company. Okay, if I come to you. It's okay. If you come to me as a publisher and say, here's $10 million to make a game, you have funded that game, and it is not an indie game. If, however, I come to you and say, I have developed and made this game all by myself with money from my own pocket and no help from anybody else, would you help me sell it? That is an indie game. It has to do with whether or not it was developed in a vacuum, not whether or not it's being published by anybody, and not by how many copies it sold or how popular.
I'm not saying it isn't an indie game. I'm just saying having Warner Bros. Behind it ain't hurting it either. That's what I'm trying to get at.
No, even most indie games need to get a publisher, because
that's a pretty big publisher, though.
But see, the thing, it's the way the whole distribution market is set up. It's the same for comic books. Like, if I don't want to find a publisher, that means I need to go to a print shop, print out my physical copies, get in a van, drive them to stores, sell them to the owner, take the money, and do everything my fucking self. Why would I not take advantage of a distribution network that is already set up and give them a percentage from what I make? That makes it everybody win. I can get my product further, I can get it in more hands, and at the end of the day, since I'm not going and doing everything myself, I can make more of my product and at the end of the day make more money. They then get 10%, 20%, however much percent of the total value of my product when it's sold, and they make money. Everybody wins. That's the whole distribution market. It would be senseless to try and publish anything without a distributor. It would be swimming against the grain, and the best you could hope to do would be a weird grassroots campaign. But even a Sundance film is an independent film, but if you get a DVD copy of it, it's published by somebody. Otherwise, the only people that would have a copy of it were people who went to the Sundance Film Festival and bought the hand-pressed fucking copies you made. And that's not a real revenue model for anybody.
Yeah, but again, it depends on who's publishing it too. A smaller studio or a bigger one. That makes a difference too. That's what I'm trying to get at here.
All publishers are big.
Some are bigger than others, man.
I mean, yeah, like I guess EA would be the biggest, but for the most part, a publisher needs to be big to do their job right. That's why there's only
you can't have like a little publisher.
How many book publishers are there? Like less than a dozen? 5 big ones.
Yeah, I think I only know about one basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that many comic book publishers. It's by its very nature there can only be a few because you have to corner a certain amount of the market to actually have that infrastructure in place. Unless you have $12 million, you can't start a book publishing company because it's such a vast infrastructure. So just because like you go to a company who's already big and say, I'll give you some of my money if you push my product, like that's, I mean, some people do that with just advertising agencies. That has nothing to do anymore.
Oh, yeah, like I said, I see what you're getting at, but I personally have a very hard time full on saying this. Like, I know it's an indie game, but at the same time, they got a pretty big donor behind them, so I'm sticking to that. Game. All right, I'm not saying it isn't an indie game. I'm just saying, look who's behind them. But anyway, that's our thoughts on The Witcher, I guess. So let's move on to the main topic here. Again, this was one of those weeks where nothing was happening, but some Japanese games were happening.
Quite a few things happened.
Not really. Things.
Well,
not according to Tony. If nothing,
quite a few things happened.
Quieter than it normally
is. There wasn't like a type situation.
Well,
the one pattern was
the zinc.
Other Zinc
is having a very good week so far.
Well, yeah, if you're Other Zinc, obviously, I mean, any day for him. But I did notice a pattern, though. All of our main stories are about Japan, so it inspired the main topic. Basically, we all know Japan was like the biggest in the gaming industry. They pretty much brought it back from the ashes after Atari fucked everything up. Not Atari per se, but Westerners kind of messed that up. They brought back everything. They were good for like a long time, and then lately that's not the case anymore. We've seen Konami going down, Capcom going down too. So yeah, we've talked about this before. I just want to bring it all together. Let's get Chris in here first, because I'm pretty sure you have some things to say about this topic specifically. What is going on with Japan, man?
They're stuck in the past. They think it's still 1992, and they haven't looked at a calendar in about 26 years. They need to change, and there really needs to be fresh blood in there. I think Konami's suffering from that, and they really, whatever fight they've been having with Hideo Kojima shows just how far their heads are up their asses, that they really got pissed off with, especially like going back to PT, they really got pissed off that he took the reins on that and brought us something great in a demo, and that really burned them, and so much so that they not only canceled the game but took the demo away from everyone, right? Like you can't download it anymore.
Away.
Yeah, like that, they were that butthurt over it. So, and the thing with Metal Gear, if people weren't yelling and screaming at them, his name might not even be on the game anymore.
See, that was fucked up when they did that.
So it's just amazing to me. And Capcom, I don't know. I think they just are so desperate. Now they're on the remaster train, right? Like the next things we see coming from Capcom, besides probably another Monster Hunter or whatever they do at Resident Evil, is just remasters. Full steam ahead with HD remakes.
Now, here's the other question. Okay, because obviously Japan was innovating like crazy for like a lot of years, and then all of a sudden they're just mired in tradition. Like, what's that all about?
I think they had those. They did have innovations back then, but they it seems like everyone now, all these Japanese studios want to play it safe. Like they don't know what to do, so they're just sticking to what has worked, and it's just like repeating the pattern. Nintendo is kings of this. Just repeat, release the same thing over and over again. Just repeat this stuff. And Konami, I don't know, the mobile shit really pissed me off. I don't even but my mind can't deal with that. Mobile's the future. Fuck off, man. And Capcom, I really don't think they have any talent left in the pool to really pull together and make anything besides another Street Fighter or Monster Hunter.
Checked out a long time ago.
Yeah, they really don't have anywhere to innovate. It's like, okay, if they go make another Resident Evil, it's like, God help us, because Resident Evil 6 was so horrible. I can't imagine what 7 would be like, So I don't know if they have just enough steam to really come up with something great. And they're sitting on all these like great properties that they've had in the past, and they're just languishing,
Sitting on Mega Man is such a sin right now.
Yeah, and look how much Konami is fucked up. They lost their whole talent pool, right? Every big guy's walked away. We know Igarashi walked away. We know that the PS guys have walked away. Kojima's done after Metal Gear. They pretty much lost their big talent pool there, and they don't seem to care either. They don't seem to give a shit.
And they're not replenishing the talent pool either. That's the other problem.
I thought that gaming makes, for Konami's case, I thought, according to their one report, they said, no, gaming is actually, compared to a lot of the other stuff, like gambling or whatever, it's actually a very small portion of their company, hence why
they have a huge company, which they delve into all kinds of stuff, like music, like there's, also gambling machines.
Isn't gaming not even gaming that we know it? It's like they label gaming as like entertainment. It's like something else. It's not what we think it is.
Well, even that market is very small. Their gaming could be huge because they had the world market. But in terms of, if you're going to talk about slot machines and that stuff, they only have Japan as a market. That's a very small market compared to the Earth, right? And real video gaming, right?
I was waiting to bring that up. Can I make a point on top of what Chris made?
Go for it, dude.
I think Japanese developers, for some reason, I'm not sure if it's a cultural thing, they're kind of incapable of listening to their audience.
Oh yeah, that goes without saying.
Well, I don't mean that in an inflammatory way. I mean that in a way that if you think about it, doesn't allow them to evolve. So when Western audiences started playing a lot of video games, and I still remember this, we started outsourcing our video games to Japan because the Japanese would play things like Call of Duty and whatnot, but we weren't playing Japanese games, and our developers were listening to their audience worldwide and adjusting and developing their games, and soon you came to Western studios are selling games worldwide. Japanese studios tend to only sell games in the Japanese market because they're not willing to listen to the Western counterpart or their Western market like us and deliver what we want. How many games have we asked for to be shipped over here that we never got?
I know what you're talking. I know where you're going with this, Brett. I know where you're going with this already.
They don't view us as a viable market, but we're not a viable market because they don't spend the time to try and work with us and listen to what we want. And because of that, their market share is going to be halved compared to Western developers. And slowly but surely, Western developers are going to start to take over. I remember about 6-7 years ago when there was a whole bunch of articles about how Japanese players are importing Western games like crazy.
And Witcher 3 sold a lot. Or did really well in Japan, apparently, last I heard.
What did?
Witcher 3.
Yeah, dude, it debuted #1. Like, they love Western games, but we don't play Eastern games. So inevitably, after a certain amount of time, Western developers are going to take over.
In Japan, I need to jump in here because that's the point I want to get at, because Chris was mentioning mobile, and I think that's what's going on with Japan now. They don't seem to think about, Manny, we talked about this before, they don't seem to think about the rest of the world. They're just thinking about Japan itself. And a lot of the Japanese niches we don't kind of care about.
I mean, they're not looking to make a game that is universal, in other words, that has universal appeal. And they're going with the safe bet. It's like, okay, we know what we like. We don't want to go outside and figure out what it is. I mean, Kojima is probably the only developer out in other than maybe the From Software guys that actually thinks about universal appeal, or rather than just kind of insular things like, hey, let's have another dating sim or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then I want to go back to something else that Brett, you kind of brought up too. Because I remember this. Manny, you were around for this. There was a point where I was like, a Western game, I'm not buying that shit. Like Western games were of very low quality. So you had some good ones, but mostly it was the Japanese making good stuff. And then like around the year, like the early 2000s, that's when you saw this tide shifting. And they were doing the same thing over and over again. And Westerners started developing stuff. I mean, here's the funny thing. I'm playing Final Fantasy X right now, right? This game came out, 12 years ago, I believe? Mm-hmm. And there are new Japanese games that play exactly the same as this.
It's also kind of what's happening in the Japanese car industry, too, where it's like they're essentially just making the same old cars that they did 20 years ago and just adding maybe 1 or 2 new features.
Yeah, so is it like a cultural thing? Like once they find what works, they just keep with it?
It might be that, and also being cost effective.
Yeah, because I mean, isn't their economy kind of fucked up too?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I know it was back in the day. In the '90s and stuff. Right, Chris?
Well, I think the problem, and Brett nailed it, is they don't listen to their audience at all.
Yeah.
Like, and especially guilty. Sorry, guys, Nintendo is super guilty of this. Like Mega just doesn't care what anyone else thinks, and they do their own thing, but it hurts them in the end. And when you get statements, when you get Reggie saying like, oh, people don't understand what we've created, it's like, no, you don't understand your audience anymore, and you made this thing, I'm specifically talking about the Wii U, that nobody wants to use, right? And you can't blame your audience and say you don't understand what we made. It's like, no, you don't understand your audience anymore.
Yeah, you don't understand what we asked for.
It is to say that about Nintendo. I mean, this is everybody grew up with them, and it's so hard watching them just destroy themselves.
It's kind of like going and ordering a steak, and they bring you sushi, and you're like, no, I ordered a steak, and they're like, you don't understand. These are the most delicious fish rolls you've ever eaten. Yeah, they were caught by our personal fishermen and made just 3 minutes ago, seasoned to perfection. The chef guarantees them, and you're like, I don't give a fuck. I asked for a steak.
It's kind of like an apple.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. It's like, dude, I'm giving you that. Okay, these are maybe the greatest sushi I've ever eaten in my life. I ordered fucking steak though. I don't give a fuck how great these. You're
not going to go back to that restaurant.
Yeah,
Isn't that kind of what Apple does? They don't give you, like, you ask for one thing and they give you the other.
Yeah, and it explains, that would explain why they have such a hardcore home audience or fan base. Like, there are those people that are like, sure, I'll just eat whatever you get me, and every time they get given something, they're like, that was the most amazing blank I've ever eaten. But some of us want to kind of pick and choose what we want, or some of us want to be like, I just want a fucking cheeseburger, and they've never given me a cheeseburger. A cheeseburger being the metaphorical equivalent of an adult fucking game.
Right, but Sony gave me a cheeseburger and it was fucking delicious.
Yeah.
And it was called Bloodborne.
Yeah, I'm going back. That bitch had tomatoes in it and everything.
Exactly, right? So I'm there now. I'm in that restaurant. I'm eating at the Sony diner. I'm eating at the Xbox diner. I'm not eating at the Nintendo diner because they only give me fucking sushi.
Man, I got food poisoning from that Xbox diner. I hope it's better now.
Uh-oh.
Oh, shit.
But I think that's the heart of it. It's like if Japan wants to get back into the game, pun intended, so listen to their fucking fans. They need to see what's going on outside the rest of the world. It's not just Japan, and see what people want and try to do that. I don't
want to see him die. I want to see him.
No. Here's the thing. Japan has a lot to offer the world. They do have a unique take on things. People want to see that, but they want to see innovation at the same time.
Yeah, like they're one of the few cultures that people want to actually hear about, but there's a special kind of asshole doubling down. Like, there's not listening to your clients, there's making fun of your customers, and then there's being known for publicly mocking your consumer base. And when you get to that point, like, you've not only fucked up, but you've doubled down on that fucked up. Like, you're not only betting the farm, you've pulled your shirt off and you're betting it all on black, man.
Yeah, and this goes back to our earlier conversation with The Witcher. It's like, these guys treat you like shit, so when somebody actually treats you nice, you're like, yay, I'm actually being treated with respect.
The other thing is I think a lot of the Japanese, these publishers, in their eyes, like, I'm not saying it is innovation, but they kind of treat going all the, what do you mean we're not innovating? We have all of our stuff on mobile, and they're kind of, everything's all mobile.
No, Japan, no.
But I'm just saying what their mindset.
No, I'm saying, I'm like, Japan, no, that's not innovation. Just because you put on a fucking
but
bullshit
they think
phone.
It is. Right.
That's what they believe.
You're like, video games? Well, we're going to put TV in your video games. Like, no. Quit diluting it.
You want a Pokemon battle? Well, you can only do 5 before you have to pay $5 to get your stamina back.
And you can't get in. And you can't get in on a console either. There's innovation, Nintendo putting Pokemon on consoles.
No, I love that. People got mad at me when I put that in my article. That Pokemon Shuffle, that was your taste of mobile. That was your taste of them giving you that sweet garbage pay-to-play mobile, and everybody got mad. They lost their fucking potatoes. It's like, oh,
4chan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got attacked, got a letter and everything. 4chan was on the roll, man.
That shit was amusing. That made my day.
It's these butthurt kids. It's like, oh, fuck off.
So yeah, I don't really see a solution because Japan. I don't think they're going to listen. They're not. It's
I think a couple of things need to happen, and it seems like a lot of the studios are making, at least in the Japan side, are making, they're making their money on the other sides of things, on mobiles and things that they can easily kind of recreate. Even those giant arcade machines, that they're making, Again,
they'll still do good, They're making Dissidia for the arcade. It's still
see, like they have these whole new, Japan is a bit of a different animal. You've seen it with the handhelds, the way the Nintendo 3DS is doing incredibly well. Even the Vita is also doing very well over there in Japan. When it comes to the big consoles, not only is it a big investment, and a lot of people over there are on the go, so it's like. You can't bring a big ass console with you, so I just think it has to do with the way their lives are, and a couple of other things. So, and I think Japanese studios in general understand that. They understand how it works. But when it comes to the other sides of things, where most of the West is, as far as games go, they still want to play everything on a home console,
Yeah, but you can't make the excuse that they only understand their market, so they're only going to play to their market and just stop everything else.
That's the safest bet, because
you look at their market.
Look at their market compared to the rest of the world. They understand their market, and if they sell well in their market, it's fine. It keeps them afloat. But doing a huge bet like making a worldwide game.
No, hold on a second. That's wrong because we don't do that. You don't see EA Sports going, oh shit, we don't understand Europe, so let's not make a soccer game. Did you see how well FIFA sold in Europe?
But the thing is, number one, it's also a FIFA game.
So what? They make soccer games too. Japan plays soccer.
Japan has the I forgot which one the Konami one is.
That's just an excuse. The main reason is they don't listen to anyone else. They don't want to listen to anyone else. They understand their market simply because they are there and they understand their own culture. If they would just do research and listen in Europe and South America and North America and understand what gamers are saying in those regions, it would be a simple problem to solve. But they don't do that. They just make shit, put it out, and then they go, oh, nobody bought this. I guess we'll just stop, or I guess we won't do these things there.
Yeah, it's a mix of both. It's one, they want to do the thing is going to work for them, right? They're going to make games for their market because they know it's going to sell. But on the other hand, they're also not trying to expand their market and doing research that every other company does. It's a mix of both here.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, I mentioned, Hideo Kojima, who literally managed to, puts together a team of people from all over the world, people who have different likes and wants in video games, and essentially makes a game that has a universal appeal. He still, to this day, makes a game that has universal appeal. He makes games that have universal appeal.
Yeah, that's the thing, though.
Sure, but that's him doing that, and Konami seemed to have shunned him for doing that.
He's even said it himself that Japan is not innovating. Japan, as far as consoles, is just kind of pulling back.
Fune said that shit
too.
Yeah, Fune said it.
Yeah,
a bunch of guys that they know exactly that's what it is. They're not innovators. They're just trying to play it safe now, and they don't give a fuck about looking at. You're right. Think about EA, Chris. Imagine if EA was like, we're only going to focus on America. Fuck that. That'd be retarded of them to do that.
Yeah, we're just going to make Shooter Man because we don't understand. We don't want to understand what other markets are doing. That's a simple solution. You go to the other markets and you find out what's going on, and you
test. People do not understand how big Europe is as a market.
Yeah, let's not make a soccer game, even though there's like millions and millions of soccer fans out there. Let's not do that. That's not our fan base.
It's going to roll back the other way, though. Like, there's going to be enough Japanese fans of Western games, and Japanese culture is very ambitious, and it wouldn't be out of line for Japan to be like, we used to be amazing at making video games, and we can again, and really aim for it. I just think that right now you have a lot of people in charge who kind of got burnt out through false innovation. They tried things and failed, and tried things and failed, and they're like, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to go with what works.
But they don't even have to look that far. They could look down the street at From Software, and it's like they're doing phenomenally well. They seem
Japanese studio. Exactly.
Right? Yeah. It's like, but it's like the 80%. It's like these old curmudgeons. It's like, oh, we don't understand anything, and oh, I don't want to change. It's like just retire, Grandpa, and let somebody else take over. If you didn't chase away all your talent, maybe there'd be somebody to step in at the reins at Konami or whatever. But all those guys walked away, or they're going to be walking away. You chased all these guys off, so who's left at Konami? Just the old guys who are like, oh, we're going mobile, this will be fantastic. All right, good for you.
The young kids love the mobile.
And I think the old stigma is if it's Western, it's shit. It's dying out in Japan because you guys are just telling, like we just said, The Witcher's selling well in Japan.
Tell that to CD Projekt.
But that's how it used to be. Even in the 2000s, where Western games were like really up there of high quality, the Japanese still believe that. I don't think they could go on believing that. I think they're finally seeing that Western games are where it's at right now.
Can I also make a note that might be slightly off point? If you look at entertainment in Japan versus America. America loves action. We love Michael Bay movies and explosions and, stabbing things with swords and whatnot. So our taste in interactive media kind of follows that. That's why Shooter Man is so big here.
Let's just call it Shooter Man from now on. Let's not even call it properly.
Japanese culture loves its anime, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely understand why, but I don't think that they've found a good way to bring the anime experience into video game format. They've come close, and I think Final Fantasy is actually a product of that. highly stylized character models, extreme angles and cuts, but when you lose the editing out of anime, it kind of stagnates a little bit, which leaves a lot of their source material kind of like here it's really easy to be like, oh, this is a cool movie, I'd love to make a video game out of this, or this would make a great video game, or something like that. But how do you translate the idea of an anime, or the substance of which it's built, that, and because that's the thing that attracts people, how do you translate that into a video game? And to layman that up a little bit, I love anime, but it's the extreme camera angles, the close-ups, the abrupt shifts, and what goes from slow to really fast and bright that appeals to the inner child in me. It's fucking gorgeous. I don't know how to put that into a video game that wouldn't be turn-based.
I know how most people don't like Dinosaur.
Play Afterward. That's an anime out the ass in the video game form. It's just quick time events, so you'll hate that. But Asura's Wrath has that crazy quick editing that you're talking about. But here's the problem, though. Let's say they go down that route. Let's make games more like anime. That's going to isolate them because, remember, anime, as great, we all love anime here. Anime is niche as hell in America.
You'd play an Attack on Titan game, and everybody would.
You mean the 3DS one that's coming out?
No, a real Attack on Titan game, not a Nintendo version.
Actually, I wouldn't, because I played anime-based games, so they're usually shit.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. If it were a real video game with real video game resources and a real development team, like if you took fucking I don't care, Valve or CD Projekt Red or any of those and gave them an Attack on Titan game, I think it'd be fucking phenomenal. But you just can't trust a Japanese studio, especially Nintendo, to do it.
Yeah, but the Attack on Titan is pretty Western friendly, though. You know what I'm saying?
Give Attack on Titan the Treyarch, man. I'm saying that because of Spider-Man 2, man.
No.
I want to kill a kill fighting game.
Attack on Titan will work.
Yeah, where's my kill fighting game, goddammit?
Yeah, but that's right. Okay, I'm actually glad you bring it up. Attack on Titan would work because that's what Americans love. That violence and all that, right? It's very gritty. Kill la Kill would work because it's just too bright and colorful here, remember, we all love anime, but I'm talking about the wider Americans. They see anime, they think it's like, what the
I don't know, man. Like, this is a subject that's actually pretty close to my heart, because when I first started really, seriously drawing, back in high school, when everybody is really seriously drawing, I loved anime, and it kind of bled into my work, and anime was a derogatory thing. It was kind of like a bad word. You didn't want to. No, it's not. It's just in the minds of us that it is, but in the actual industry, no, it's not. Anime-inspired comic books are getting big. Anime-inspired movies are getting big. Anime on TV is do you know how fucking big Toonami is now?
It's as big as it was before. But here's the thing, though. Dragon Ball Z is coming out in movie theaters. You think that's going to blow up box office?
No, because it's still limited.
Yeah, but that also has a lot to do with
yeah, true.
Yeah, the audience. Do I think we may see a major motion picture adaptation of an anime in the next 5 years? Fucking absolutely. Somebody's going to realize, hey, maybe comic books aren't the only thing that make good movies. They're going to tap into that anime pool, and they're going to cherry pick the fucking best of the best, and they're going to make a decent movie. And if that movie is any kind of success, the floodgates will open, just like X-Men opened the gates for superhero movies.
You admitted it. Thank you.
Dun, dun, dun.
I admit it. I've always admitted that.
No, you didn't. You were saying Spider-Man was the first one.
Can I
it's
just ask them
dude.
one thing? Do not make a live-action One Piece. Just something should.
It's not gonna happen. But we're getting off track. This would be a really good topic for Otanime, actually. God damn it.
God, dude, I was gonna say.
But let's go back to Japan. Let's just to finish it off. But I think we kind of hit it on the head here. It's if they want to stay relevant, they need to innovate, get out of their little Japanese box, and actually look at what the rest of the world's doing, see what the rest of the world likes.
I think they can still be niche if they looked at even if they listened to people, they could still be niche. If they looked at even the whole world audience and they say, what do you like Japanese-wise? What do you like about Japanese stuff?
Ooh, that's a good way to go. Yeah.
And ask their own people, what do you like in your video games? And tailor the game to that. We could have a uniquely Japanese game with worldwide appeal, because there's something about Japanese culture that's fucking the world loves Japanese culture.
I think you're onto something. I mean, a lot of the a lot of the games that we've been getting as of late have been trying really hard to be Western games a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like you look at some of the Suda 51 games, it's like a weird, it's like Japanese, it's American culture seen through a weird,
weird lens almost.
Through a weird lens. It's like, okay, so this is what the Japanese think of American culture is, a bunch of people who just curse and, make vulgar jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's weird.
No, you're right about that. So how about, it's like this, going back to universal appeal, right? Everybody likes stories about warriors of some kind, right? What are some Japanese warriors? Samurai, ninja, right? You make a game about that. You start with that, hey, what kind of gameplay do we like? And, you go from there, you take...
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but
Tony.
Brett, your mind's about to explode. What's up?
Bloodborne is an anime through Western lens.
There you go.
It's got all the classic elements that make anime so popular, but it's incorporated through a Western taste so that, it's more mass appeal. And I think that right there is what Japan needs to do. What do you like? What do you not like? All right, let's give you a distinct Asian flavor in a nice little box that you can understand.
Here's the thing. Like, you look at a game like Katamari Damacy. That game actually did incredibly horrible in Japan. But in the United States, because it was so weird in Japanese, that was the
It's not even tailored to the Westerners. That's
I don't know who it's tailored to. I don't even think it's tailored to humans.
A game that was made for their own audience, just so like.
I remember when I downloaded Nobi Boy, I was like, I am not nearly high enough. I could buy all the drugs in New York, and I would be high enough to fucking enjoy this game.
So yeah, again, I think we're on this up here. People like Japanese things. It's just,
How did Ni no Kuni? Because that was.
It did all right. It didn't do, it's a Japanese RPG.
Ni no Kuni did okay. It didn't do great. I mean, it's actually. Yeah, it's a classic RPG in
The tragic part about Ni no Kuni is it was the console version of Pokemon that everybody was kind of asking for. But none of the Pokemon, like, I introduced it to a couple Pokemon fans, and their brains exploded. But nobody that I knew made the association, like, this game is pretty much Pokemon.
I'm only saying because it's like, we always complain, like, it was like the last polished Japanese game I really, maybe besides Bloodborne, but I don't see too many of them, games like that, or at least from that kind of studio.
Yeah, high budget Japanese games. That's true.
That's what saddens me.
I mean, the last one we could probably see.
Killed it.
But it made it look like an anime, though.
It made it look like an anime, but it also limited the audience appeal.
But this goes back to what I was saying before. If you try to make games more like anime visually, you're gonna.
Okay, but the fact that it was done like a Studio Ghibli anime for 10-year-olds, like, really made the game like hard to take seriously as an adult.
I think that's also a thing too. It's like it looked like it was a game for younger audiences.
Yeah, which it wasn't.
I'm sure if it looked like Fire Emblem Awakening, it'd probably have more appeal.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about why, not to get too off topic, why, anime will never get super big in America, because America still has that stigma. If it's a cartoon, it's for kids, even though it's completely wrong.
Big bubbly-eyed, like, it would be hard to play Dragon Ball Z these days.
Even if you put Ninja Scroll in somebody's face, they'll be like, this is a cartoon.
I agree with Tony. We do have a cultural problem with animation in America where we think anything drawn and animated on a screen is just for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Really, in the last few years, though?
No, it's the same. Nope,
absolutely not. Like, this is why we get shows like fucking Sanjay and Craig and all this bullshit, because they think, this is just for kids, the kids want their fart jokes and whatever. So that's why they don't take anime seriously, because it's drawn. And a lot of people can't tell the difference between a show like that and something like Ninja Scroll.
A lot of Cartoon Network shows have actually taken a lot of inspiration from, look at Adventure Time, look at Steven Universe.
But hey, Ben, look at those shows. Those shows look fucking terrible. No one's gonna take those things seriously.
Look at Boondocks.
Those shows though are well written. I will give a lot of credit to I do watch Steven Universe and I do watch Adventure Time, and those shows do operate on a high level.
They're not the best animated.
And their styles, the style fits the substance, but the substance is there. It's big. Yeah. But a lot of people don't see it like that. Like if you ask anybody, they're just like, it's a cartoon, and cartoons are for kids. They don't take in Europe and Asia. They definitely use animation as a medium to tell all sorts of stories, even
all sorts of stories.
You know, and in Japan they tell sexual stories too. They don't care. But here we would never do that. It's like, you know, you can't do that. It's
There's
almost
so many
a stigma.
stories that people were just willing to give that stuff a chance. There's so much they could. You know.
Right, but we know that in Hollywood they borrow a ton from anime. You know,
did you see Man of Steel? That whole battle was anime.
Yeah,
you know,
but look at
that was DBZ and Superman skin.
Mm-hmm.
But look how much is like just blatantly stolen from anime stories. It's like you compare what was it, Black Swan to Perfect Blue, or Matrix and Ghost in the Shell and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like they're just blatantly taking stuff from there. And it's like, well, we could embrace those original movies and they're still really good, but people won't watch them because they're animated.
Oh god, Ghost in the Shell needs a live-action Western adaptation.
What are you talking about? But you are getting one
Scarlett
do
Johansson.
it with Scarlett Johansson, Brett. We talked about this on Throwdown like a few episodes
Oh, that's
ago.
right. That's right.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. But anyway, let's move on here. Very interesting. We worked anime into this.
Ta-da! We're channeling
For
anime.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
man,
we are.
I could pull an argument out of nothing. Just give me a chance.
All right, let's talk about some gaming news, and it's all Japanese related, which is interesting. First one, Street Fighter 4, Ultra Street Fighter 4 is out for PS4. Yeah, and it's broken. It's broken apparently. So
It's pretty badly broken.
here's the thing, though.
Have you seen the videos, Tony?
Oh no,
Yeah,
no.
it's very broken.
This is why.
Tony,
This is why.
It is embarrassing.
Very shit.
Everyone-
I mean,
Okay, let's do this right now. In this room, raise your hands if you've played this.
raise your
Like
hands
this
if you've seen
version?
the videos on YouTube that show how
Brian,
broken it is.
Brian, I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I haven't experienced
Only
any.
talking about
yet.
this version of the game.
So, that doesn't mean shit.
Oh,
You
no.
guys aren't fucking letting me goddamn finish here. Shit. Anyway, so I'm playing it, and I played through the single player. I did training. I didn't see any of that. I was kind of disappointed because I wanted to see the shit in the videos. Then I go online, and I'm like, okay, I see what the fuck you guys are talking about. It was laggy as fuck input shit, and I'm like, how do you mess up?
So
a fucking yeah.
So
That's
what
the
you've
game.
you experienced what they've experienced online rather than in the actual single player.
Yeah, because if you see the videos, they're experiencing this in training mode.
Yes.
I was doing training mode for like a good hour. It was fine. No problems there. I go online, different story. Totally different story. It was fucked up. Totally fucked up. You know? So it's just interesting. I'm trying to see how to replicate what these guys did. Because I don't
Yeah,
the missing sonic booms and stuff. But yeah, but my thing is like, how do you take a port of a game that came out last gen and fuck it up like that? Like to
Yeah,
that
it was
extent.
really
Ask Sony that one.
Sony, and yes, I want to say Sony is the one to kind of blame here. It's not really Capcom. Capcom, it's like, hey, think about it. Who did it? It was a Sony third-party thing.
There's an internal studio at Sony.
And I don't care if it only costs $25, guys. This is supposed to be your flagship fucking game. You know, Capcom, what do they have now? That and Resident Evil. They don't have anything else. It's their flagship thing, and it's all fucked
Monster
up.
Hunter, that's about it.
You know?
Mohan.
So yeah, that everybody's screaming. Y'all seen the videos and stuff. It's pretty fucking bad. This is another Halo Master Chief Collection debacle again, basically.
Pretty
I
much.
think this is worse. This might be worse.
Yeah, I'd say that this is worse. Like
This is definitely worse.
like I've seen the videos and like they are messed up. I mean,
It's bad.
I don't know how the hell that went past QA. Like I've seen some shit in my
I
life.
have a
but
feeling.
that is some of the worst I've seen.
I have a feeling not a lot of QA happened on that one.
Well, I mean,
especially if the game.
Start the title screen says press start.
Yeah, especially if it says the first error in the game is the fact that it says press start instead of option.
Yeah, press start. It's like, no, there's no start button here. What are you talking?
Like,
and actually, in fact, I'm glad you bring this up. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet I put up. I put up a tweet of the trophy list, right?
Do you
It
see
says
the start button on here?
It says Super Street Fighter 4 trophy list, and I'm like, I thought I was playing Ultra Street Fighter 4. What's
So did you even get the trophies right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The laziest port you could possibly do.
Yeah,
like I said, I haven't experienced these super issues unless I go online, but it's fucking lazy, man.
It was so bad they had to pull it from the upcoming Evo tournament.
Yeah,
fighting fans are the most nitpicky guys ever. They're the guys who like they can't they measure lag, they count frames, all this stuff. You can't have any type of lag, let alone like it moves to fucking work, and you have like glitches where you're bouncing all over the place, all this stuff. Like that's completely unacceptable, and they flipped out.
Yeah. Does people do not QA anymore? Is that what's going on in the fucking industry?
I have a feeling the QA on that was a little bit rushed.
And what are you rushing for? This is not the fall.
I don't know. I mean,
what were they really rushed for?
Did they want it out before Evo? Yeah,
that's what it is. Maybe. So let me get this straight. Let's rush a game that's going to be in a fighting tournament with the nitpickiest fucking players out there. Yeah, that makes fucking sense.
How about not announce it as the version that's going to be at Evo?
Yeah, it's insane, man. I don't know how these companies get away with this shit. No one QAs anymore.
Okay. The question now is, how is the Xbox One version? Because there is no
Xbox One version.
Ah, well then question 2. Do you think this will impact 355 in some way, or people's mental conception of 355?
Well, it's gonna put something in people's heads. They'll be like, hey, they're gonna be like, yo.
I think it is gonna give. One thing is it is gonna give, even though because the Capcom wasn't
playing with.
Oh, this. Would you see it?
That's fine.
I thought you were playing with a flower. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's like a black flower in your hand or something.
It's like, yay!
I knew what you were playing with, by the way. I just wanted to ask you. But yeah, Manny, go ahead.
You fucked my thoughts up.
Hey, man, you fucked my thoughts up by putting that thing in my face.
Okay.
355, mental
confusion. Yes, mental. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it will affect of what people think of Capcom, even though they weren't in charge of the port of this game. Definitely.
Oh yeah, that's gonna affect.
And I think it might. I think definitely it'll have like some. It'll be like, oh well, let's see if Capcom doesn't fuck this one up. Type of deal.
That's gonna be people's heads now.
Because I'm sure. Bad for Sony.
Yeah, they fucked up a port. They fucked up a port, and
of a game that was released 80 times.
It's insane.
Well, no. If Others Inc. brings this up in the comments, just mention how 343 managed to mess up porting Halo 1 through 4, all of those games except for 4, which they didn't build, and they managed to screw that up. So
you know what? I'm going to ask you now, Others Inc. What do you think? Fuck it.
No, you know what he's going to say. He's going to say like the downfall of Sony or something. He's going to say something insane like
this is the downfall.
Other things going to say that Forza 5 was released at 1080p, 60 frames a second. That's what he's going to say.
Oh yeah, Brett, Drive Club. I was watching Throwdown Your Questions, and you were like, "Oh, show me a game on Sony's platform that's racing game." Blah,
didn't
blah,
want you guys
Drive Club. Yeah. Jesus Christ, I forgot about that.
Well, but Drive Club has more content in it than Forza does, doesn't it?
I have no idea.
Now, that's a good point. Now it does. When it launched, not so much. But
oh, by the way, Brian, I'm glad you mentioned that because this game is supposed to be 60 frames a second. Ultra Street Fighter 4. I've been playing it for a few hours. I haven't seen any 60 frames a second at all.
Number one, here's the thing about 60 frames per second in that game. All the characters are animated at a specific frame rate, so you're not going to notice any sort of 60 frames per second on those characters.
Yeah, but I mean, when the animation isn't choppy, of course.
No, you're not going to really. You're gonna see. The thing is that if you're animating it in a specific frame rate initially, you will not notice it because it will still be running in the same. The characters are still running in the original frame rate that they were animated in. They don't get extra frames. It's not like motion. It's not like what is it? Live motion.
I played Super Street Fighter on Xbox 360 and on PC. There was a noticeable difference in frame rates.
I mean, as far as seeing, listen. Listen to what I'm telling you. You're gonna see. Obviously, you're gonna see a lot of the frames a little bit more clear, but you're not gonna add any sort of extra frame because of the way fighting games work.
But I'm not expecting extra frames animation. I'm expecting smoothness, and this thing ran the same as the last one.
Yeah,
because
it may run at a choppy 60 frames per second, and that's why.
Because to me the thing is you're probably not going to see that much of a difference because everything is animated at a certain frame rate. But like let's say stuff that is all keyframed animation, like some of the background stuff, you're going to probably notice it on the stages. And the way the camera scrolls across.
Yeah, I didn't notice any of that.
But that's the places that you'll notice it. Like Look at Guilty Gear Xrd for PlayStation 4. That game, they say it runs at 60 frames a second. If you look at the characters, they don't run at 60 frames a second. They're at a limited animation frame rate, which is around 15 to 20. So the backgrounds and everything, you notice it. You notice it when it scrolls.
But that's what I'm saying. None of that's in there.
Yeah.
Why does it matter?
Go jump in, throw in the old one and see.
Oh no, Brett. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. But this goes back to Brian's favorite thing. It's like, hey, if they 60 frames, you better not lie about it.
I don't think it matters for
Other Zink's comment, like, I don't understand why this is supposedly a comment on the platform that it's on. Like, we know the specs of the consoles. If somebody's able to get more frame, if they're able to hit 60 frames per second at 1080, congratulations, you've got a very good developer who knows how to utilize their assets very well. If they promise that and don't deliver on it, then you've got somebody who doesn't know what they're doing so well. And here's the other thing. I could take a shit in a box and make it run at 60 frames per second. That doesn't make it fucking impressive. Like, I can downgrade the resources, the texture, and the scope of my entire game to make it run at a higher frame rate. That doesn't make it a better fucking game.
I don't think we're arguing that. I think we're arguing the fact that clearly the developer didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
No, other Zink is, though, and this comment fucking keeps
Brett is
coming back
addressing
up.
him specifically.
He's addressing other things.
I'm addressing like I'm fucking putting this Forza thing to bed, man. Like, fuck.
No, you're not. Hey, Brett, have you seen the comments he's made? Brett, have you seen the comments looking towards you specifically in the comments section?
I was looking for him. I didn't find him, but we started the show. I'm sure I'll find him. Like, I'm ready to go in the fucking forums and hash this shit out.
Brett,
popcorn, man, they're pretty good.
Brett, I know I told you. I know I told you before. Don't go in there. Go in there now. Go for it. Just go nuts.
You can't hash with Crazy Man. He's just nuts.
He's just gonna bring up Forza 5 again. Even
It's
the game with the
lock, dude.
Yeah, it's like the game with
Dude, I played Forza before. It has the worst body damage of any racing game. Like, every car feels like it's built like a fucking tank. You like plow into a wall and you barely get a dink. Like, I've crashed cars before. That is not how they react.
By the way, I love the fact that
that's how they react when you sign a license.
Yes, there you go. Exactly. You can't damage them too much. I love the fact that he never brings up the fact that the audience in the game are like cardboard cutouts. Like,
Tony, don't make me go to the Drive Club review and show you that picture.
Oh, did he do the same bullshit too?
On the Coalition, the Drive Club review.
But you see my point though, right? With
on the Drive Club, it has the same thing as Drive Club.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't say that, and I've never said that about Drive Club either. Anyway, my point is,
I'll say, like, just in case you guys saw like driving games do that all the time. They did the same thing with GT5. Gran Turismo 5. They said the same thing with the catch mark and the stands. They had like this horrified look on their face.
Exactly. That's why you can't when you're like.
They don't want to be
there. That's why you shouldn't use driving games. Yeah.
You can't use driving games as a high watermark. You can't be like, well, this driving game did it. Well, fuck it. Who cares? Who cares about driving games? You can hide so much shit just behind repeated textures.
I mean, the thing is, yeah, because it's kind of like a game like The Order. Being that you're on this track,
sorry.
Listen to what I'm saying. Hold on. Listen to what the fuck I'm saying.
I'm jumping in next. I'm jumping in this.
Listen to what the fuck I'm saying. Because you have a specific row, you're essentially going down this track. You don't really, obviously you don't need to spend as much on everything. If let's say for instance you decide to drive off the track, and now you're in an open world. Now you need to do more computing. Because of the fact that you're on a really nice road, you have your little walls or whatever. You can make a really pretty game. You can spend all your polygon count on making a beautiful car and making a nice environment around the car. Now, what were you going to say?
Yep, I was pretty much just about to say most of that.
See?
But also in racing games, what most people tend to miss out is the physics system.
Yes, exactly.
Racing games have an intense physics system.
Oh yeah, that's 90% of the game.
Gran Turismo. And physics systems are expensive, like computing-wise. I mean, they're really tasking. That's why you don't see it pretty much anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. You won't.
Look at any driving in any game that has a car. It's pathetic. I'm sorry,
Exactly.
I'll say it out.
You won't see the same sort of physics system in a Grand Theft Auto game as you do see in a driving simulator game, right?
Oh no, not at all.
Like a Gran Turismo, like you get stuff like tire temperatures, like tire pressure, suspension, and all that stuff, and that stuff plays a big part.
That's because that game is made by a car nut.
If GTA drove like Gran Turismo, I would just walk everywhere.
Yeah,
I would be able to get my license.
Brian, let me ask you: is most of that power from the GPU or the CPU, though?
I would assume CPU. Because that would be a lot. Because I'm assuming that it would be able to process stuff faster.
Yeah. So if it's unloading a lot of that workload onto the CPU, the GPU would be left to render frame rate at a higher refresh rate, wouldn't they?
It would, but then if that's the case, then you may run into problems where the game itself may like slow down, and that could be a problem. Again, it depends on the developer and the architect. So
I think we've all agreed that driving games are kind of their own beast. Like you can compare driving games to driving games, but it's tough to compare a driving game to like.
What about Project Cars? I mean, that's supposed to be pretty. Supposedly.
You're going to sacrifice some of the physics, and anytime you make a driving game open world, you're going to sacrifice some of like the real world physics of the drag, and that's just how it is right now.
Yeah, and for the record, Project Cars is intensive. I mean, it's far bigger in scope than Drive Club will ever be. I'm sorry.
Well, I thought the weather was cool in it. I don't know how well it runs with it on.
But Brian, a certain somebody says that Drive Club's better than Project Cars.
I will address him in Why Gaming Sucks Part 2.
Oh,
there's one chapter for him, and try and guess what it is, Tony. Like, you'll see it. You like, that's him. That's him right there. Well done, Brian.
Wow. Shots fired.
What does it matter,
just go to drafts, and then you'll see.
If he wants to play Drive Club, let him play Drive Club. If you want to play Port, just this back and forth. It's like, ultimately, who gives a fucking flying fuck?
What does it matter? Well, you see why Gaming Sucks Part 2. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes.
From now on, I'm like, refer to this part of why Gaming Sucks. Refer to this part,
I'm not talking about, like, why this game is just better than this game. Like, I get your point. I'm just saying, like, ultimately, just like, if he wants to play that one, and it's not as good as that one, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I have no problem. Like, if you want to play Drive Club or Project Cars, that's fine. If you want to argue about it, then we shall discuss. If you want to state your opinion as fact, we have a problem.
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
Especially if it's a wrong opinion that has numerical facts to counteract. That's when things get a bit like, yeah, you're an idiot state.
Wow. All right. Moving on. Yeah.
Boy.
Now I tossed this one in here for two reasons. One, because Capcom isn't lying about releasing remasters, but also who predicted this? Let's get it right now for the record. Who predicted Resident Evil 0?
Right here, yo.
It wasn't Brian, it was you.
It was me.
Yeah,
I said it 3 different occasions.
I seen that in the chat. I'm like, Brian was right. I'm like, I was right by what?
That's because y'all niggas don't remember when I say shit.
Just go with it, Brian.
Yeah, we're both there. Like, Brian said that.
Yeah, Brian said that shit.
Yeah, no, it was one. You know, 0 was coming. It's fucking Capcom.
But no, man, you were right. Yeah,
I knew what it was. It's because it's like it's the perfect candidate. It's a game that nobody played. I'm sorry, GameCube guys.
Keep it real.
Nobody played that game. It's a game that nobody played.
I played it.
And it also was never on. It was never on any of the other consoles. So
Brian, I see your hand.
Also, it's not very good.
The next one.
Oh yeah. No,
Resident Evil 4 would be the next one.
The 20th edition of Resident Evil 4.
We said.
Oh, look what Corey's holding up. Look what Corey's holding up. Resident Evil 0. He has it.
Yes.
Yeah. I have to disagree with Brian. I think it'll be Code Veronica.
No,
that's on the list.
No, it's on the list.
Both of you are right. Both of those games.
It's going to be Code Veronica. It's going to be Resident Evil 4. It's going to be Resident Evil 5, and it's going to be Resident Evil 6.
Wasn't Resident Evil 5
They're
already?
gonna push out Code Veronica before they push 4 because Code Veronica is a terrible game.
Yeah, but
that's fighting words right there.
You're insane.
They just released like another PC version of Resident Evil 4, so that's the easiest.
Like Code Veronica?
Code Veronica was fucking amazing, bro. What are you talking about?
Oh my god, I fucking hated Code Veronica.
Wow. Okay, well that's a discussion for another show.
That's Brett, the next Throwdown.
Brett, in all my years talking about video games, I have never heard anyone dislike the game. You're the first one, so congratulations.
It felt dated. Maybe I'm thinking.
When the hell did you play that thing?
I played it on Dreamcast.
Yeah.
What's
when
that?
did you play it, Brian?
Brett, when did you play it?
I played it
on a Nintendo product.
I played it years after it came out, so yeah, I definitely felt dated, but that's because of the time I played it.
Yeah, I mean, literally came after Resident Evil 3.
Yeah, I played it on Dreamcast.
Dreamcast on launch
date. I bought all of the games and then played all through them, but by the time I bought Code Veronica, I was like, I already played 4. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? But again, that's when I played it.
Maybe I'm thinking of Zero. What was the
Resident Evil 0 was essentially like Resident Evil 1, the remake of Resident Evil 1.
Except you had an annoying Billy Cohen fucking tagging along.
Okay, yeah, well, it was the whole fucking... That was the escort mission game, right?
And then you had no chest for storage. You had to basically put all your items on the floor because that's cool.
Yeah, that one was terrible.
Because that's cool.
No, I don't think I like Code Veronica. Sorry, guys.
Interesting. You're the first person I've ever heard say...
You had a chest in Code Veronica.
I will say, though, that they did kind of successfully, stress that this was a prequel to 1, so they almost did remove a feature that was in 1. It's just like, oh, by the way, before there was chests, there was dropping your shit on the floor.
Yeah, the prequel takes place
chests yet.
Yeah, a day before then, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Code Veronica, you're going to get that because, again, that was a really big game. Resident Evil 4.
And they recently remastered it.
There you go. And Resident Evil 4 got a remaster on PS3. You're going to get that too. Capcom is going to...
More than that, really. Not really.
Capcom ain't lying, man. They said they're going to do remasters, and you get remasters out the ass.
Yeah, I think you're just gonna. I think you're gonna see Bionic Commando Rearmed. You're not gonna see the other Bionic Commando.
No, you're not gonna see that. You're
not gonna see Dark Void.
No, you're not gonna see that.
I don't know if they remastered Resident Evil 6, which was crap.
Released.
I think.
Oh, dude! Just because you said that, they're gonna do it.
I think they're going to do Resident Evil 6.
Oh yeah, Chris, here it is. Like, oh.
I think they're going to do Resident Evil 6 just for the plain fact it's an easy job.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't make it any more easier.
The first time with it when they were making it.
So.
Yeah, you're right about it, because that's the thing about these Capcom remasters you got to take into consideration. They're going to take the easiest route possible.
Yeah, I mean, number one, also you have to understand that Capcom has always been about the easy way out.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Like our last segment. Brett, what were you saying?
I did play the GameCube version of Code Veronica, which was released later, and it was a buggy, unaltered port.
Well, that's why, because we played it when it originally came out on Dreamcast, and that was the game that came out after Resident Evil 3, and it was fucking incredible. If you go back to play, if you go back to play any Resident Evil game now, the old ones, you're like, what the fuck? Even when I was playing the HD version of the remaster, I'm like, these controls are pretty bad.
Funky, and it had better mechanics. I was like,
Brett, I think that's why you didn't play when it originally came out.
The version got critically panned as 1 out of 5 because it was just a terrible port.
So there you go.
Maybe I'll give it a chance this time around.
Was the PS2 version based off the GameCube one? Because that's the one I played, and I guess it was all right.
But for Code Veronica?
Yeah.
They probably used the Dreamcast one. That's where it first came from. So. Yeah,
Code Veronica. All right. So yeah, there you go. Manny, you called it. So what's the next one? Now we're gonna. So.
I say Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4. All right.
That's the next one.
I'm saying 4 as well.
I'm gonna say Code Veronica on this one.
Resident Evil 2. They're not gonna do anything with the graphics.
No way.
You're never gonna get Resident Evil 2 at all.
You are not gonna see.
No, they're gonna re-release Resident Evil 2, but they're not. They're just gonna They're not even gonna do anything with the graphics. It's like, the fuck is this shit?
I don't think they're gonna. I don't even think it's gonna even go that far. They're not gonna even touch it.
On the screen.
Yeah,
I
no,
wish
they're not.
it was just to see what people would say.
Because they're not going to do, because they actually have to put effort into 2, and they're not going to do that.
Yeah, they'd have to put effort into 2. See, they actually.
Or they could pull what Square Enix does with Final Fantasy VII.
Hey.
Like, hey,
It's a classic experience.
We blew it up for you.
See,
It's
I think Brian's on something there. They know
PC.
Final Fantasy, or they know Resident Evil 4 is their best game in their library, and that's the one everybody's waiting for. So they're definitely going to release Code Veronica before they release 4.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Code Veronica's next. You know, they're going to make people wait for. They're going to make people wait for 4. You know.
We shall see.
Yeah.
They're going to advertise hair tessellation for Leon as the new feature.
Oh man.
Hair tessellation.
All right,
Is there a breeze in this mansion?
All right, let's move on here. So Sony came out. I think it was Dan Houser. I believe his name was. So he came out and he said that the PS Vita is a legacy system.
It is.
Now, man, clarify what this means.
It is a legacy. Now, here's the thing. Legacy usually means that it's a console that the company does not support anymore. That
now or before?
In America,
also this is also only in America. The thing is about just because it's because Sony is not the supporting it, that just means that they're not going to be making any games for it.
They're not going to make Infamous or anything.
So now or before, Manny, like the difference between now and before is kind of the same, you know.
Here's the thing.
I know what Brian's trying to say.
Exactly. They haven't made. It's like they haven't. It's like now they're actually saying that that they're not making games for it when they weren't making any games for it initially. Yes. The only thing is that there's still going to be PlayStation Vita games out. Like in other words, the companies that still like independent developers and whoever else has really invested in it are still going to be continue to
mostly overseas.
There's probably also going to be, they're not going to get rid of the store or anything like that. Here's the thing: the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 are considered legacy consoles, but their ecosystem still exists. Their store hasn't closed. They still have games on there. So, for those of you who are still supporting the Vita, I'm sure there's still going to be games, but just not from Sony.
Hell, we're practically reliving last gen right now.
Yeah. So that's what's going on there. That's what that is about.
So then they officially just came out and said the Vita's dead.
No, I don't think they officially said.
Well,
it's
dead in America. Dead. You can probably say that.
Yes, you can say that it's pretty pretty close.
I mean, look at
but the thing is, here's
every day.
Here's the thing, though. The thing is that when you look at the numbers, it's like, okay, Vita systems are not selling great, but the actual video games that they make for it actually sell pretty well. So it's the install base that's still continuing to support the games.
Like Riku.
Yeah, I think the one thing about it is like I think everybody.
Hey man, Riku buys a shitload of games and he platinums, and I'm like, I don't know, like.
Go ahead, Manny.
I think the thing is that everybody who owns one still continues to support it and buy games for it that they like. So it's, huh?
You guys have Vitas? Do you guys still buy games for your Vita?
Every so often I do.
I did get Shovel Knight was multi-plat, and I played it on the Vita, and also I got what was it, Zero's Last Escape. I just got that. So
yeah. So I mean, there's still. I mean, the thing is, the games are making the money. It's just not exactly the console.
Well, all we have to look forward to is imports. As long as somebody's
that's it.
Stuff,
we're gonna look to transplants of games.
Once in a while, I'll be at my desk working, and I'll watch Crunchyroll on it while it's.
Hey man,
but I think it as a third screen or something.
Exactly.
I was laying in bed playing Witcher on it last night.
I've been using it to play Bloodborne every so often. So
I used it to shoot Yetis in Far Cry. So there's no remote play.
Oh, there you go. I mean, there's the remote play. It's a little screen.
And how about yourself, Corey? Like, have you been buying games for your Vita?
I kind of import some stuff sometimes, kind of like Riku. I mean, there's like shit in America, but I mean overseas, there's like a new Vita game getting announced every day. Half the time you don't even know what the fuck's going on because there's no English, but there's some fun games out there. There's a lot of indie shit. Just I guess don't expect no infamous God of War.
I'm just really puzzled that Sony did not put any type of muscle in promoting anything for the Vita. They just sort of just let it languish, and now officially said, "Oh yeah, guys, guess what? We don't care about the Vita."
And the sad part is, it's a good
Yeah.
It's
a good
hardware, and that's
It's a brilliant piece of kit.
No
you know?
support behind it at all.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know why they had that area at E3. Remember? Tony remembers. It was like a whole Vita area. I was like, "What's this for?"
Yeah, like nobody was going there.
Our hopes and
More
dreams.
than Xbox.
Like, what is that, Vita? Okay.
Successful handheld besides being Nintendo at this point.
He's like, Daddy, what's a Vita?
Yeah, like I've looked at my Vita and been like, I honestly don't know what the fuck else I could ask of this system. Like, what the hell else do I want in a handheld? It's got a camera, it's got a microphone, it's got 2 touch screens, it's got dual thumbsticks. Like
I said, it
has
was
everything.
just no muscle, nothing behind it.
All muscle, no gimmicks.
I mean, look at the 3DS. Not anywhere
Nowhere near as
powerful, but look at the
Nowhere near.
difference in game libraries.
Yeah. It's baffling to me. Yeah, like you have this amazing piece of tech. What are we doing with it? Nothing? Okay.
Holding their thumb up our butt.
I mean,
You
it took them forever to find the remote play working.
You think Sony's gonna pull this shit with the Morpheus?
I was just about to say.
I don't know. They've invested a lot. I mean, probably more money
They
than
invested a lot in Vita too, man.
Remember how everyone was saying, "Oh, the PSP is good, but they've had like 2 thumbsticks and all this, that'd be cool." And then when the supposed spec of the Vita was announced, like, "Oh, it's going to have touchscreen here and there, joysticks, this big memory, that big screen," everyone was all excited.
Yes, look what happened.
They have good intentions and they got good ideas.
They
But
just
it's just they don't always know what to do with. They don't always know what to do with them. They just kind of like, here it is, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, everybody bought a Vita like, sweet, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
For example, take the middle touchscreen on this. I mean, a lot of devs are trying to use it, but it's like, what the fuck is this? You know?
I think it's a glorified part. I think it's a glorified button.
You guys, when the controller first launched, I'm like, yeah, that touchscreen is going to be useless within a year. Just wait. Now, what, like a year and a half in?
Most of the devs use it as, I know Witcher.
It's like an extra button.
Because
it's a button. It's a select button.
For example, in The Witcher, I'm playing and I'm like, do I have to go in my inventory menu every fucking time to get to the world map? Where in other games, so they have a separate button for that. You have to slide up on the touchpad. And it's like, it's a little finicky first. It's like, okay, so I don't have to go fucking.
Can you disable that? Because I hate when games force you to do that shit.
Yeah.
Actually, I've kind of found myself enjoying having the touch screen there, like, and would use it a little more, like, yeah, like having like swipe options.
Brian said, "Fuck that."
It's annoying in certain fucking games. I'm not gonna lie. Other ones, it's just like
I disable that shit, man. That shit doesn't even work right.
Like I would like if they put your weapon select, like instead of the D-pad where you go up and down or left and right, just swipe up and down or swipe.
No, actually, Far Cry does that, and it's a pain in the ass. If you accidentally touch it, your weapons go.
Hold on, guys. We're all talking over each other. Chris, go ahead, man.
No, if you while I'm playing the game, I'll accidentally hit the touchpad, and my weapon wheel will just like flip out, and all of a sudden I'm holding a grenade, and then it's game over. Like I'll just throw my face.
Yeah, GTA 5 does the same. It's like swipe up and down to like get out and like hide your weapon, and left and right to like go left and right on your weapon wheel.
Yeah, I think fuck up in GTA.
Which is fine, but then the problem becomes like, okay, you only have so many fingers and there's only so many buttons, and like your thumbs are usually the ones for the thumbsticks, hence the fucking name, of course.
Evolution.
And then like to swipe left and right, you intuitively use your thumbs because they have the control, they have the range, like they have the flexibility. Like you can't really use like your index.
Yeah.
Your index fingers to swipe.
I've never used that in GTA, by the way. Never did that in GTA.
So then, just the whole placement and its whole usefulness, it's ergonomically makes no sense.
Plus
like
the touch
you purposely have to take off your thumbs off the sticks and even off the buttons to even use it. So
it kind of should have been on the back.
Yes.
Well, here's the other problem. The touchscreen, I think, it's a big dampener on the battery. I would actually I would like a version without touchscreen and a bigger battery, because that thing has shit life for shit battery life. I love the controller. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I love the controller, I'm not going to defend the battery life on it.
The battery life is ass. And if this was like post-patch that extended it and whatnot,
They
then
never
I'd hate to see
extended
pre-patch.
the
No?
battery life.
Brian, did you dim it too?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's dimmed.
Yeah.
It
Also,
isn't.
the battery life is asshole. It's like what?
Brian,
Like
here's the sad
7
part.
hours?
Yeah, Brian, here's the sad part. Before it was dimmed, it was worse than it is now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how the hell could you think that this was acceptable? Like 5 hours, like battery life on a controller?
I'll give a lot of credit there to the Xbox One controller, because when I charge it, it stays charged for a while. I don't know what the exact battery life is, but I'll know my DualShock 4 I played for a while. I get that low warning all the freaking time.
Yeah, but I have a friend, my buddy has it at his house, and he's like, he loves his Xbox controller, and I love it too. It's more, I think it's a little more comfortable, fits in your hand better, like kind of like the other one, the 360 one. But he said that thing has its own set of problems. Sometimes they still have that weird thing where, so you know how people have been reporting that sometimes it'll like disconnect from your playing at random times.
Oh,
and then, and then you have to restart it, and it's still an issue. I don't know why the fuck that's still a problem.
I've never really run into that, but
it's an issue. I just don't know why it's still a fucking problem.
I do love me an Xbox controller.
And Others Inc. will not hear that, even though you just praised.
He'll focus on the first half of what we were talking about, and then fuck the rest of it.
He'll focus on that specific part when Chris said that the Master Chief Collection was shit.
That's all he'll hear.
Oh my god!
Almost 6 seconds, and that's it.
He'll write a novel about why you're wrong.
You mean how last time we had
60 frames a second.
But he can't bring up the argument that. Yeah, he can't argue with me. I dare him, because I have an Xbox One also, and I own that game. So I dare you to come and tell me that I don't own that game. I don't know what I'm fucking talking about. I dare him.
Chris, you don't have the acumen he does, man. He has two business degrees, man.
You went to Everest, man. You don't fuck with the man from Everest.
Everest, nigga. Oh,
I don't think fast food employer of the month certificates count as degrees, but anyway.
Oh, that's going personal. I Keep it respectful, people. Come on.
What do business degrees have to do with knowing about video games, or is he's speaking of the business side of running a studio?
Oh man. All right, let's move on to the last story. We're skipping pop culture because the game stuff is hot this week. Hot. Brian, thank you for throwing this in here, because I don't know how I skipped this one.
Yeah. Oh, Tony, I have no idea how you managed to skip this convenient story. Hey, Tony.
I don't know. This is actually a good one. This is a very good one.
It's ultra convenient. I'm just saying.
It's not convenient. Thank you you reminded me. It's very, very busy with E3, but this is a good one. This is Others Inc. Get ready. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this.
This is why I say that like Others Inc. has been having a really good week so far. Like first the whole like Street Fighter thing, and then the Vita thing. And like there was like NPD thing, and now
like
this.
Candyland for him.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he's loving it. That's it. This is the fall of Sony right here. This is what he's waited for. That 10 million gap is going to be filled.
It's the stock market crash, except at Sony employees.
This week it's going to be filled. The 10 million gap. Anyway, so Sony admitted what we all know. Their first party lineup for the fall is sparse. By sparse, they mean non-existent.
Yes, because most of their big ass titles need more time in the oven.
They got pushed.
Can I just ask, Manny, like which? Yeah, I was about to say like which big titles are these?
Wasn't it Uncharted that also got Ratchet and Clank got pushed?
Yeah.
So
Ratchet and Clank is third party.
Come on.
That's not a first party game.
That's only 2.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
Brian, I'm going to skip to exactly what Brian's saying. Brian's saying even if they did have those games, it was still sparse. But like, Brian, if they had those games, it would actually be sparse. Yeah. Now it's actually non-existent.
Yeah, they only have, we can, he laughs that there's only 2. I mean, that's all we know of right now.
There were 2. There were 2. What I'm trying to say is that sparse is not the correct term. The correct term is non-existent.
Did we count The Division? Was that one of those 2? I didn't hear.
That's not a Sony.
No, that's not a Sony one. That's a third.
That's a whole different story altogether.
And plus, The Division got pushed till next year.
Yeah, I know. Are they saying that their first party
comes out?
games
No, they're not. They're just
their
saying
game lineup is sparse.
No, they said first party, but they said they have a healthy third party, whatever, you know.
Like every other system does, apart from the Wii U, because
I think that I think he means the whole exclusivity thing, like with Star Wars and Batman and stuff like that. I think that's what he's trying to get at. That's nice, but it's not a first party game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just be real, you know.
I mean, what is Xbox? So they have.
They have Forza 6, the Saber,
Halo 5,
Halo.
The timed exclusive for Tomb Raider.
Timed exclusive. Thank you for saying that.
Dude, I still don't. I'm kind of torn out talking about this. I don't know.
Timed exclusive. No, the timed exclusives are weird like that.
I don't even know if it'll come to PS4 at this point. I really don't know. Like you know.
It will. It's
not timed exclusive. They want money. Trust me.
Yeah.
That shit is dirty pool, man. Like every time I hear about a timed exclusive.
Well, aren't they isn't Microsoft publishing that game? It's not that it's like not Square publishing it. No.
Timed exclusive. Listen to the language. People are coming up with these conspiracy theories.
Same.
It's a timed exclusive. It's coming to PS4. Don't even worry about it. Yeah. Anyway, Brett, go ahead. What were you saying?
I hate timed exclusives because it's the result of somebody paying money so that a good chunk of people can't have a video game. It's just dirty pool, man. Like, it's one thing if you develop a video game. Like, if I own Sony and I develop a game for my console and know as my competitor you can't have it, that's fine. That's not bad business ethics. It's another thing to go to Brian and be like, hey, you know that game you're developing? Here's $1 million. Don't give it to those motherfuckers. Like, that's just a dick move. Like,
I really wish that was
brownie points for that kind of exclusive.
And you can't blame Brian for taking that money. You know?
No.
Now, what about No Man's Sky? What is that situation then?
Yeah, but as a consumer, like, if somebody came to me and said Sony's releasing this timed exclusive, I'm not going to look at Sony like, hey, good for you, you've got one up on the other system. I'm going to look at Sony like, you fucking dick. Like, now you're just being a prick to half the gamers out there in order to make an extra buck or two. Like, it's just kind of, like I said, it's dirty pool.
Keep in mind they made this deal specifically because of Uncharted 4 and all that stuff's coming out. It's kind of like this weird, well, we have this deal, fuck it, just release it, I guess.
Yeah.
That was the whole reason they originally made that whole deal.
Yeah, all right, Chris, get in here. Chris, get in here because you're holding the dog. And I want the camera to... What do you think about this?
What, time exclusives?
No, not time exclusive. The whole Sony sparse, quote-unquote,
well,
lineup.
they need to make
And you let go of the
like,
fucking dog. God damn it.
I did to talk.
Talking. What's wrong with you?
I put the camera on you so you can talk, so you can have the dog. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead. I wanted you to be Blofeld, but with a dog.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I can't defend it. Like, they need to make it sound less bad than it is, but they really don't have anything first party coming out for a while. Like,
it's funny. It's funny because it's like, especially with them, it's like they were like the first party, golden children.
Basically.
No, Nintendo's the first party golden child. Like,
they're the golden child's a slightly less golden brother.
But no, the point was, like, before in years past, every fall you were guaranteed Sony was going to pump out a bunch of exclusives, and this generation, man, hasn't happened really.
Yeah. Dude, they're in a problem situation if they can't get something on the shelves before Christmas.
Yeah, like
I'm calling it Uncharted Collection E3. I don't know.
They're going to.
Oh yeah, of course. They need to hedge their bets and stuff like that. They're going to do that. You're going to see a bunch of remasters and shit.
Yeah, but I mean like something that's going to make people want to buy a PlayStation or buy PlayStation stuff. Like, Bloodborne was good. They need something equal set for the fall/winter. Otherwise, Xbox is just going to dominate the holiday season.
But that's going to happen already, by the way. There's no stopping that. Xbox will dominate for sure. Halo, that's going to say it all right there. Even if
Halo.
Yeah, no, that's already going to happen. But Brett, I just thought about what they're going to do. Bloodborne, the Game of the Year edition, this fall.
They might do that. I don't honestly think that'll be enough. And there's a lot of danger if Sony doesn't have a fair representation around holiday time, because Microsoft, they deal in zeitgeist. They deal in public opinion and being brand recognition. And if they get the footing this holiday season that Xbox is the system to buy, that stigma will stick as Xbox is the next gen system to buy long after holiday is over, because people don't bother to check up on this kind of shit but once every 4 years. So they'll hear Xbox is a system to buy and think Xbox is a system to buy, and it kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Like how
they could
PS4 is doing it
totally
now.
come into E3 at the E3 show. It's like, ever want a console that has exclusives?
I want a console that has games.
Totally.
Do you own a console but want games?
Tony,
Have you ever
calling it
wanted
now.
games?
PS5 gets announced just drop a megaton, and they don't come out for like 4 years, but just everybody's all fucking hyping that shit up.
Yeah.
Unless
You
they do like
ever
a
wanted
slim.
some games?
Yeah. No, the only thing that I can see that would work in Sony's favor is like a slim model. Because like every time that they do, they like get like a huge boost in sales.
Damn thing is already friggin' slim.
Yeah, it's
What
already
can you
slim.
get with that thing?
The first model was the slim model, essentially.
Xbox Slim. That's what I'm expect. But I don't, can they actually do an Xbox? Because I thought the whole point of why the thing's huge as it is, because
It's got lots of fans in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you want to do that right now? You can only pull that card once, though, and to pull like a system reiteration before you've even gotten all your titles up off the ground would just further to ingrain the idea that Sony is just pushing hardware with no software to back it up.
By the way, you technically get away with it twice. They always do 2 iterations
That's
of
why
the
I'm
slim
saying,
models.
like, right now, for sure, Uncharted collection. And for sure, at least that
But
has.
that's not gonna stem the tide. Microsoft's winning the holiday hands
Oh
down.
no, they're winning. They're
When
winning that.
When is No Man's Sky coming out?
Around this,
It's supposed to be this year if it doesn't get delayed, which, let's face it, probably might.
If I were Sony, I would be calling up people close to their deadline and be like, "Can we just give you another studio?"
This is the perfect moment to announce a certain game that we've been waiting for like 5 years.
If that game is announced, let's just be real, if The Last Guardian gets announced, that's it. That's it.
They'll have
one. They found their
You
I don't know if The Last Guardian would be even mainstream enough to garner mass attention at this point, though.
I think it might. Uh-oh, Tony just froze into a...
No, I'm back again. Yeah, if The Last Guardian gets announced, that's it. Sony wins, hands down. You know.
Do you know that if it doesn't, then Charles is going to find you and kill you.
You're like, yeah, remember Tony Polanco? Like, yeah, who is that again? He's like, yeah.
Again, big emphasis on if it gets announced. If.
Yes.
Sorry,
this
Charles.
This would be a perfect trump card, and then they'll be like, yeah, and it comes out this September, and everybody will be like, what?
You know what would be like just mind blowing if they kind of say, hey, Last Guardian coming out next year, directed by Hideo Kojima.
I think as far as Hideo Kojima goes, I don't think you're going to hear anything about him leaving or anything right now, because he's promoting Metal Gear Solid 5. I think once next year comes, and if he walks away from Konami, unless we'll see.
He's walking away. Come on.
If he walks away when he walks away from Konami, that is the moment when you'll hear about he's working on a new game.
I wouldn't say that he'll walk away from. I don't think that he'll walk away from Konami. I think that he'll just get on his foot and then just get inside a cardboard box and then just crawl away.
I hear that's very difficult at Konami Japan. I hear there's a lot of surveillance over there.
Oh wow. He could do it though. He could do it.
He's written down where all the cameras are, where they go into the studio, and that's how he's going to sneak out. He knows that
he has a codec.
Yeah.
Listen, he's very well versed in sneaking missions. He could do it.
I want to see him make a Gundam game, Kojima.
Oh, he already did his Zone of the Enders.
He's walk around the office all you hear is, what the hell's that? Oh, it's Kojima. He's just about.
And also, he's the alert symbol.
He throws a what is it? A magazine.
Yeah, just magazine on the floor. It's like, God damn,
Kojima. A magazine, by the way.
He'll throw a gun magazine like. That's the thing that makes the noise.
Yeah, but they don't throw an actual magazine.
No, they'll put magazines down.
With women, you know.
And speaking of magazines and Metal Gear, Ground Zeroes is coming out for PS Plus next month.
And
I heard that you can kill people with like throwing magazines at them. If you get like headshots.
You can if you're in reflex mode, you know, the part where everything slows down, if you aim it right, you can actually toss a magazine into their head and it instantly knocks them out. And it makes like a little ding noise too. It goes bing. There are crazy folks out there who literally do runs where it's like they just run up to people and slow motion them and throw the magazine at their head.
Dude, I need to watch these now.
Can you imagine beating the entirety of Phantom Pain just doing that?
Well, I'm sure a boss doesn't react to that.
You never know. It is Kojima, though. You know?
It is.
Dude, if they did that person deserves to meet Kojima in person if they did that.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. I just might imagine the story now of gods like, so what happened to you guys? We got beat. Oh, how? Some guy just threw magazines at us and knocked us all out. Like, really, guys?
This guy. I saw the guy, and all of a sudden I was on the ground.
I don't even know what the fuck just happened.
Chris, what happened? Would you say?
How the hell did you get beat with a guy with an eye patch on?
You don't even know, man.
He was just so fast, man. He was just so fast.
You don't even know.
Yeah, Chris, what were you gonna say, man?
I forgot.
We're getting magazines. Oh man. Brian, any last thoughts on it? We wrap it up.
Oh yeah, it's free
Sony's
on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, Sony's sparseness. It's a bit confusing. It will explain Gamescom now, since that if they're sparse, then and it's all mostly third-party focused, then it means that the stuff that they would have playable at Gamescom, it's not really going to be that much. So a no-show is acceptable.
It's pretty disappointing with all that. But
maybe if I was Sony right now.
Maybe the thing is that also maybe they're making this sort of pushing back a lot of these games because again there are a lot of games that are coming out that are pretty damn broken.
Yeah, they can't afford another Drive Club again. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of the reason why they pushed Uncharted back and they pushed back the Ratchet game. It's just like whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's all accumulating though. You know, Assassin's Creed Unity. You don't want another one of those on your hand.
Yeah,
you don't want another Ultra Street Fighter 4 on your hand.
Yeah, and see in those cases, well, I mean, other than the first party developed things like Drive Club and like what they did with the port of Ultra Street Fighter. They don't want that. So
and it's like as much as everybody wanted Uncharted to come out, it's like its thing is unlike Drive Club or The Order. It's like Uncharted is their Halo. It's like coulda came out, maybe it was playable, but then it coulda came out, people were bitching that it was fucking broken or it wasn't as good as the 2. And it's like we can't. They aren't gonna Naughty Dog or they can't win no matter what they fucking say at this point.
But then at the same time, it's kind of like an addictive problem of games in general is that they're
just not ready. Yeah.
Well, they sometimes announce them like too early.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Like the last one.
Final Fantasy versus fucking 2000.
Yeah. Don't announce until you're actually developing it, not just a fucking idea that you drew on a piece of paper.
Well, the thing is that now, the thing is that now everybody, now everybody wants to see like gameplay. I mean, about those things. Like now, you have like a little bit of gameplay, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's coming soon!" It's like, no, it's not. It's just a prototype.
Remember Batman? Yeah, remember they said it was coming out last year. Yeah, fuck that.
Everything, though, that was the theme of E3 last year.
That was 2015. 2014 remastered.
Last year was
and it seems we're repeating that again this year, aren't we? Delayed to 2016.
We're still repeating last gen.
Well,
The Witcher did come out.
Is coming 2015 E3.
No, this actual gen is going to start in 2020. Apparently, the way we're going.
Well, at least now we have like 2 games that were delayed like last year, which are Project Cars and Witcher 3. So that's some sort
and everybody's happy with The Witcher. So there you go. And Project Cars, right?
At the end of the day, all of these, everybody that's coming there, they all got to deliver. Because it's like the last couple E3s, I'm not going to lie, I've been kind of, there's been some highlights, but just been like,
Yeah, they're not giving what Torrance calls megatons.
Yeah, they're giving microtons as
Where's
Torrance calls
where's
it.
my megatons, man?
Dude, I already said, look, with E3 last year, it was a problem when people ask me, hey, Tony, what was the best game you played? I'm like, Alien Isolation. Why? That's the only game I played. Everything else is just a fucking video.
Tony,
It
here's
by
the
default.
Bethesda gets on stage, and you know how everybody expected Fallout 4? They're
Yeah,
gonna
Fallout
see
4
the
ain't coming
Fallout
this year.
logo, and then it's gonna say Fallout 3 Remastered.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
I have to say one of the better games at E3 last year that I played was actually Guilty Gear XR. I love that one. It's good.
Yeah, and you bought it too, man.
I bought that shit.
All right, let's start wrapping this shit up. Otanime episode something.
real
I don't know.
quick,
I'm not keeping up. Anyway, Brett, go ahead, man. You got to pimp some stuff?
No, I was trying to ask the question. Did we even talk about what title they have up their sleeve, or did we just talk about how sparse they were and go off on a shit-talking tangent on Sony?
Yeah, the shit-talking tangent. No one is going to pay attention to because we're the Sony down.
Well,
Yeah, but okay, I have two questions that I want to ask real quick.
Go ahead,
One,
Ben.
what is the title that they have up their sleeve? And two, and this is kind of a two-part question, do they have less development resources at their disposal, or are they working on stuff behind closed doors that we haven't been told yet?
All right, I'm going to answer some of these.
You mean other than the virtual reality helmet?
Yeah, like, do they have a bunch of games that they're trying to spool up for the Morpheus, and that's why we're not hearing about shit?
If they're doing that, that's bad, man. Like
That's a good point. You know, 'cause, like, they did the same thing with the
You
Move.
bring that up, I'm kind of worried now. I really hope.
Yeah, because if you're delaying, like putting out, like, I hate to say this term, but that's the only one I can think of right now. If you're like not gonna put out real games so you can have some shit on VR, that's not good. You can't be having that.
It wouldn't be taking resources away from games and putting them towards VR. It would be, instead of having two studios each developing an exclusive, you have one studio developing an exclusive for the PS4 and one studio developing something for the Morpheus. Because I know that there have been a shitload of layoffs, but I can't think that the industry has shrunk that much and that games are that much harder to make that's why we're seeing, like, especially from Sony, like, we're not seeing much from Sony. So either they've not doing much in-house development, or they're doing a bunch of shit behind closed doors, right?
Well, that's what I've heard, that they're doing a bunch of shit behind closed doors, apparently. A bunch of stuff's being produced. And then remember what we talked about last week, the reason we're not getting that many games now is because every game has to be a big, sprawling, open-world thing, and those take a long time to make. So, but again, we don't know what the hell Sony is doing behind the scenes. We don't have, we're not privy to that. To answer your first question, No Man's Sky is the only big one I could think of that's
and
coming.
that's not even really a Sony game.
It's not, because that game's gonna eventually come to Xbox as well, because that's a timed exclusive too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've humored the thought of getting an Xbox. Xbox is like, oh, if I don't have stuff on my PlayStation, I could just have, that too. But it's just like, but be honest with me, I don't really like Halo, and it's like I played Dead Rising.
Don't say that.
Well, no, I'm just not that big of a first-person shooter fan, but I played Dead Rising, whatever the fuck 3. Didn't get it. Like, if you don't like those core it's just like either way you're kind of screwed on both sides of the fence right now.
Yeah, but Brett, that's the only game I could think of, No Man's Sky, and as for the other stuff, we don't know what they're working on. They must be working on some shit. I can't imagine that these companies are just sitting on their hands, But again, they're not showing results.
Yeah, it's getting a little annoying now.
That's the problem.
I have to say that, getting back to Brett's point, like, I think that some titles have been kept hush-hush simply for Morpheus' sake. Because, like, knowing how Sony operates and how the first-party studios are always the one to push the Sony stuff, as like the Sony peripherals. Like we've seen that with Move, and also like Killzone did it, SOCOM did it. They all had heavy Move integration. So I'm expecting that whatever games, because like when the Morpheus due, or like first quarter next year, or spring
supposedly.
Yeah, let's say it's April, just because that's like the end of the spring.
Yeah,
really.
That's fair.
So like all games like from April until like 2017, like I'm assuming that all games that get announced for that time period will all have some heavy Morpheus connectivity or something to do with Morpheus. And I think that's maybe why things have been quiet.
They have to be planning to announce some of this shit at E3. Like, if I know one thing about Sony, it's that they don't show up to E3 without some kind of show.
Yeah.
Like, and they seem to have so little planned for E3. Like, you look at the board right now, you're like, Sony is just going to get stomped at E3 this year.
Well, the other thing is, aren't they going to have the theater set up where you can actually watch a show in a theater? So I'm like, yeah, it's kind of interesting to watch a show where the company you're going to get stomped on a big screen. It's like
I definitely think that the big thing is going to be Morpheus, and the thing is, if you think about it, they are going to have kind of a head start on Oculus because Oculus still hasn't released a final product yet.
It's true. They dicked around in the weeds way too long.
So I mean, officially all those Oculus games that have been in development ever since the damn thing had been created, all those things can theoretically come out on the PlayStation.
Yeah, and that's the Rift's real weak point is it doesn't have a platform to distribute on. So even if they had come to market before Sony could theoretically just steamroll them with basically, like, you already have a PlayStation, just pop on your Morpheus, buy it from the PlayStation store, you're good to fucking go.
Oculus might be superior to Morpheus, but doesn't matter unless one reaches the market. It depends. It's always who reaches the market first.
I think that in this case, it's all on the games that support it, because even if you get to market first, like, if your games don't fully utilize the tech, then no one's gonna give a crap. Like, look at the Kinect. The Kinect is a brilliant piece of tech. Yeah, it's a brilliant piece of tech, full stop. The software that supports it,
not so much.
Going back to what we talked about before, right? The Vita, same situation. Yeah, great piece of tech. Yeah.
Software.
But here's the other question we're not asking. It's like, okay, let's say they're developing all these games for the Morpheus, right? So they're betting, this is what Sony's doing. Okay, we're going to bet that everyone is going to buy essentially another console, because this thing's going to be about $300, and they're going to buy games for it. That seems a pretty big risk.
No. What they would do is they would add Morpheus support, and the cool thing about what VR does is, like, the Kinect wants to add all these extra features. It wants to make you do other stuff. The cool thing about VR is you're not doing any extra stuff. It's just changing the way in which you do stuff. So instead of moving a stick to look around, you actually just look around. So you can have games that play just fine on a console, but if you put on a VR headset, suddenly instead of having a neck brace on, you allowed to freely look around.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I was thinking like Oculus, Morpheus exclusive games, like. That's it. That's what I was thinking.
I mean, it'll be Morpheus compatible. It'll have on the back.
It'll be like if you have a first-person shooter, it has Morpheus abilities, right? So then your head is analog stick 2.
Stevie Wonder, baby.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly they have that Until Dawn, but who the fuck knows that?
Yeah, like they're already trying to figure out, and they've been trying to figure out how to support it in an unobtrusive way. They basically want you to be. They've already gone back and modded a lot of games like Skyrim. Doom 3 was the first one. Like when I saw somebody play Doom 3 on an Oculus Rift, I immediately wanted to play Doom 3 a second time because I watched them go up, and I know this isn't part of the game. They walked up, leaned, and peeked around a corner, and I was like, Doom 3 does not have a cover system like that. That was completely impromptu.
Cool. Holy shit, that's cool.
And then all this talk just makes me sad. You don't know why?
Why?
PT.
Too soon.
How like if you had if it still existed and then it had an update. If it's still
even Alien Isolation. What
if Alien Isolation had a patch for it to make it
Alien Isolation technically still can. PT will never ever have that.
Alien Isolation already runs on the Oculus. They've already.
So I mean,
that is literally the U.S. Treasury sitting on the table and no one's doing nothing.
No, think about it like this: with PT, just the normal ass PT, right? It'll make you shit. It'll make you shit your pants. If you play it on Oculus or whatever, it'll kill you. You'll have a heart attack.
You're gonna need a new pair of underwear, man.
It's gonna be. It'd be kind of funny watching how that works. Like again, okay. So remember how we were watching our friend play PT, right? That one time when we were over there.
Dude, it was a room full of 7 of us. I wanted to leave the room. I was like, no,
this
is too much.
crazy. What is PT?
Are you fucking kidding me?
What is PT?
Really?
Brett, you're trolling
The
right.
playable teaser, Silent Hills.
Silent Hill.
Oh, okay. We're talking about the Silent Hill trailer. Okay, cool.
You don't have to trailer the fucking game, dude. Didn't you play it?
The playable trailer thing.
Yeah, the playable trailer. You guys,
teaser.
I hadn't understood the acronym.
Oh.
I just,
Well, that's what Kojima and them all fucking called it.
And that's what it says on
We've
the
been talking about PT for freaking since it came out. How do you not know that, Brett?
I keep referring to it as the Silent Hill trailer.
Hills.
Oh.
It's PT, man.
Is the game that would have been Silent Hills, but Konami shot all over it.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I mean, I think, yeah. I definitely think. I think, like I said, my prediction for that game is that it will exist. It just won't be called PT.
Yeah, it'll be called something else.
It won't be called Silent Hills.
Can you imagine though, like if Sony just comes along and says, "Hey, Silent Hills, we'll take that."
Yeah. If they came out and said,
Kojima,
we've got Kojima, we're making this game, and it's gonna be on the Morpheus. Boom, drop mic, walk out.
Yeah,
you know what would be like so great? If like Shuhei Yoshida just walks on the stage, just points to like the left corner, Kojima. He points to the right corner, Del Toro.
And he just
goes to the
walks
center,
away and nothing.
Renus, and then just walks away. It's like, oh my god. And then PlayStation, like.
Yeah, exclusive. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Here's the thing
And
about
then he does a little bow and then he walks away.
Wouldn't that be a repeat of what they did when they announced the price? They were like,
yeah,
99, and left.
By the way, with those 3 images, that's all you need to know. Everybody would know exactly what they're talking about, and they would lose their fucking minds, man. Make it happen, Sony. That would be great. Maybe at next year's E3.
Make it happen so we could rub it in Konami's face. Oh, you guys thought mobile was the future, right? Good job.
Right.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to present for Morpheus because Microsoft has already shown their hand with their visor. So the only one that we don't know about is like we've seen the Rift, we've seen what the augmented reality goggles that Microsoft is cooking up. Like let's hope they have a really strong showing for the Morpheus.
Yeah,
they
should get Lawrence Fishburne to come out too.
Zion, hear me!
No, I think Morgan Freeman should walk out.
There's
Morgan Freeman.
Just him sitting in a brown recliner and just.
Yeah, Manny.
Have you
Morgan
ever
Freeman.
wanted to be
I love to hear the sound
of imagination.
All right, hold on, everybody quiet. Manny, Morgan Freeman.
It'll be like, this is Morpheus, the greatest headset ever. It'll be something like that.
Oh wait, you need to tie in a short tale about when I was a boy.
Yeah. When I was a boy,
I dreamed about seeing distant planets.
Now that future is a reality.
With the Morpheus.
Now that future is reality. Thank you.
Every time you mention
Morgan
Morpheus,
Freeman.
it means a freckle.
Nah, Manny, you know what I'm thinking about right now. Actually, no, you don't know. For some reason, Stan Lee with the Morpheus. Hey, Marvel fans.
Hey, he can't say Marvel fans. He has to be like, hey, true believers. I am the greatest headset ever.
And then he'll regale stories of how he created the Morpheus.
Yes.
And then the demo is him.
With Jack Kirby.
It'll be like, when I created the Morpheus, I went over to Jack and I said, Jack, design me a headset.
Dude, that is, oh my god, please, Sony, what the fuck?
When I created with Steve Ditko, didn't you say created with Jack Kirby? It was with both of them.
It'll be changed the next time we're like, when I created the Morpheus with Steve Ditko.
It changes.
We went into the room and I said, design me a headset. The greatest headset ever.
Oh, Manny, I have it now. Stanley creates Skynet. Go.
When I created Skynet, I went over to John Buscema and I said, create me a computer that can control the world. And he said, it'll take me a couple nights. I said, no, I need this by tomorrow.
The plot of Terminator Genesis has just been spoiled.
That would make a better movie. Fuck that shit, man.
Stanley just comes up. Hey, Arnold, I created you.
I think that'd be like the greatest skit ever. Just like Stanley creates things. You know?
Yeah, Stanley creates everything.
Yeah, no, you'd send the Terminator that he created back in time, and then 20 years later, he'd be sitting there like, "Welcome to the future."
When I created time travel.
Yeah. No, I'm just
When I
imagining.
created the future, I walked up to Jack Kirby.
No, best part. The Terminator isn't Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's Stan Lee basically doing all the shit that Arnold Schwarzenegger did.
When I created Arnold Schwarzenegger with Gil Kane.
When me and Gil, we were in a room.
No, I mean,
in the old Stanley office.
I imagine him like in the '60s with a little Austrian kid. It's like, get into that gym. I want you to come out a superstar.
I need a superhero.
I need a superhero. Start working out, kid. You're gonna be famous in 10 years.
Gonna be big.
Here's a good one.
You're gonna be big, bigger than me.
Stanley creates the Infinity Stones.
Physically, not metaphorically.
Well, I'm sure he did. I'm sure he.
Oh no, I mean
he did create the Infinity Stones.
No, I mean like he was like they like when they were like created like in the universe lore wise.
I was there when they created Infinity Gems.
M. Night Shyamalan twist.
I gave
Actually,
Galactus the
he
goddamn love.
He actually did invent time travel, and then went back and did invent everything. Stanley here's a new idea. He jumps back a day before it was invented and tells Jack Kirby to do it.
Remember when Bob Kane invented Batman?
Goes back
I
in time.
actually invented Batman.
Goes back in time to Jack Kirby in his prime. He's like, Jack, and the guy would be like, and Jack would be like, who the hell are you? Like, Jack, it's me. It's Stan. I'm from the future. I have this great idea.
Ironically, Jack Kirby in his prime when he was like in his 40s.
Yes, that was the days. Yeah, he was in his 40s at his prime.
All right, I don't know how the show got off the rails like this, but it was
We went off the rails.
Throwdown.
You don't know?
This is a throwdown, baby. Love it. All right, anything else?
Wait.
Yeah.
When I created the Hulk.
Yes. Gotta have the props.
Okay.
Is that the Edward Norton one?
No, it's not Ed Norton Hulk.
It has a cool Hulk figure though.
It's probably the better of the Hulk figures that they've made, that Marvel has made. Well, it's a Marvel legend. But anyways, yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap. Yeah, go ahead.
About the Hulk is why are his pants always like roughly the same color? Like he's never in like red pants or yellow pants.
No, it's always
blue purple.
Likes purple.
Because
he's got blueprint. He's got blueprint.
There you go.
Yeah, like blue purple. It's never like red or yellow or orange. It's like
because pants are incredibly expensive, right? You go to a thrift store, what are they going to see in the racks? You're going to probably see a pair of shitty purple pants because nobody wants to wear those.
Shitty pants are cheap.
And they're corduroy, so it's even better.
Plus, he's
Short answer
memorable.
is, they bruise from the impact of the transformation.
Yes. No, they bruise. That's why they're purple.
And
That's
plus,
funny.
they cut off around at the knees every time.
All the time. Censorship.
They're magic pants.
Well, in the late '90s, during Heroes Reborn, he had absolutely no pants.
Yeah, and Ultimate Hulk doesn't have pants. They always rip off. And also, Ultimate Hulk also wants to eat and fuck everyone too, regardless of gender.
Yeah, he does.
Wow.
Now it's his thing. How do we make this Hulk edgy? Oh, he's a cannibal. He wants to fuck everything and maybe eat it.
Exactly, and that's how he defeated an enemy. He ate him and then he shitted him out.
Oh God! What the fuck? I need to read that now.
That's fantastic. All right, let's start wrapping this shit up. First of all, got to plug Otanime, episode 5, I believe. I can never keep track of this shit. Manny, what are you holding up now? Again.
He's an anime-looking character, so there you go.
Yeah. So anyway, this month we're going to be talking about Record of Lodos War and Death Parade.
Death Parade. Yes.
So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Over the weekend, we'll have Riku there. I was about to say Cesare LeRae and Carlos Romero. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Carlos.
All right. Once again, Corey, thank you for being on. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, no problem. I'll like to be back at some point. This was really fun.
Yeah, I'll definitely see you on Twitter sending me a bunch of stuff. It's like you uncovering controversies that I never even heard of. Stop going to those forums. I'm telling you, man. It'll be good for you. All right, let's start wrapping this up. So thank you for watching and listening. Make sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Throwdown Show and on Facebook. Links down there and all that. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and tonight joined by Emilio Lopez.
Later, guys.
Brett Murdoch.
Hold on. I have something.
Uh-oh. Except for
Just pulls out like a giant sword.
yeah, right. Yes, he
No,
did
it
pull out
is
a
Giant sword.
Nice. He pulled out.
Finally, have something to pull out. There you go.
You know. I just so happen to have an Adori Hanzo sword.
Badass, Brian, for calling that accurately.
Rest in peace, Vita. Sony hardly supported you.
Oh, that is very true.
Really.
Chris, silly.
I was gonna say something similar like the sparse support. Sparse.
You gotta pour one out for the Vita. You know?
Yeah, and of course Corey Dillon. No, you got to say something, man. For the
You got to do
MP3
words
people.
because this is also sound too.
This guy just nods his head. You're not Japanese.
Audible nod.
Thank you, American.
We hardly knew you, Vita.
Oh man. All right, guys. We'll see you on Throwdown your questions later.
Later, guys.
People.
See ya.